Happy holidays, and thanks for listening to Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Prices plus tags and $3.89 doc fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual Dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera Dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Hey, Sixer fans, it's Matt Cord for the Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. The Bet Parks app is fun to use. Build around on what you want right from your phone. It's easy to sign up, great customer service, and faster to win than ever before. Download the Bet Parks app today. The Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers.
See website for terms and conditions. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania. Owner Jersey Gambling Problem. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parks Casino. This is how you win. Looking for a perfect night out? Look no further than Parks Casino. Enjoy live music and entertainment at 360 inside Parks Casino. Friday, December 30th, the exceptions keep you dancing all night long. Parks Casino is your place for live entertainment, award-winning restaurants, and never-ending action. Go to parkscasino.com or follow on social for a full list of world-class entertainment. Coming soon to the Excite Center at Parks Casino. Parks Casino. This is how you win. Gambler problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Cuz for Golden Nugget Jewelers. You think about getting an engagement ring? Well, if you're ready to pop the question, you got to go see your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers now. Largest selection of certified diamonds and engagement rings. Your perfect ring at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Major financing options, unbeatable prices for name brands like Viraggio and Tacori for the settings. Right at the corner of 8th and Chestnut. It's engagement season. Now's the time to get the big ring and get all of your holiday shopping done. Get the present of a lifetime at Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
Guys, do you wish you could perform like the birds? You know, always rising to the occasion and scoring at will? If you're tired of watching the action from the sidelines, it's time to schedule a free consultation at Iron Mountain Men's Health. Hi, this is Dr. Avi Donapel. My team will create a custom program to treat your ED and low T that's safe, affordable, and effective. Fly like an eagle and schedule your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincaid Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
Yes, the show does start now. It is time for the John Kincaid Show. I am not John Kincaid. I am Connor Thomas. And next to me, I have Tom Alvord. Of course, with the holiday, yesterday being Christmas. The rest of the guys have off for their holiday break. And so it will be yours truly running the ship here for mornings for the entirety of this week. Tom will join me Monday through Thursday, right,
yes,
Tom? And
correct.
then Ray Dunn, who you'll hear on middays in place of Cuz Radio, he will be with me on Friday. But I'll be here all week, and we have a lot of interesting stuff to get into. First, I do want to let you know, of course, is our 6 a.m. hour sponsor, Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. Now, Tom, I don't know if you know about this. I'm sure you're not often up at 6 a.m. when we get the show going.
Never.
But Bob and John, what they talk about, and mainly John, when he mentions Bradford White Water Heaters, they keep our water hot. And Bob has this thing. He likes to have a good thought every morning before his feet hit the ground getting out of bed.
Okay.
John does it when the hot water hits him in the shower that he takes every morning.
That's fair.
What was your good thought of the morning this morning when you woke up? Was there one? Because I know you're not normally up this early.
I didn't sleep through my alarm, so that was my good thought today. Hey,
that's good.
I wasn't late for work today. That was my good thought. Does that count?
That's great work. Yes, that certainly counts. For me, it's that it wasn't 7 degrees.
Yeah, well, yeah, that helps
this morning. I know it's still like 26 or whatever. It's still cold out there.
26 feels like 80 after this past weekend.
It was amazing. I was outside yesterday in like a T-shirt for a little bit, just for like 5 minutes, just bringing stuff out to the trash.
Yeah.
Like Christmas present leftovers
Sure.
and wrappings. I was like, wow, it does not feel as cold as it says it is because it was brick this weekend here in Philadelphia. Not a fun weekend weather-wise, but an interesting one sports-wise. Of course, we'll start with the biggest thing from the weekend. The Eagles fall to the Dallas Cowboys. Absolute barn burner of a game down there in Jerry World. It was a really, really interesting game when it comes to what the takeaways should be from what happened on Saturday. And we've had a day to think about it, but because yesterday was just Sixers basketball here on the Fanatic, and we'll talk about the Sixers' 8th win in a row and that performance and everything there. But we are the first live show to get a chance to react to what happened in Dallas on Saturday.
So technically, this is Eagles postgame.
Pretty much. This is Eagles way, way after postgame, but this is the first time you'll get a chance to hear actually live people react to that. So let's jump into our reactions from Saturday. My first thought is I didn't really have that much, not excitement. I was excited because when you play Dallas on Christmas Eve, you're looking at a situation where you've got two top teams. It's a holiday eve. It's a big game. It's prime time. Even though it wasn't a night game, it was the America's Game of the Week, and they were touting it as America's Game of the Year, basically.
Yes, they were.
Because of all of the different implications that go with that, even though the implications weren't really hinging on that game whatsoever. The Eagles stand in pretty much the same spot they were when they walked into that game. But there was a lot of juice surrounding it because of the circumstance. And yet, when I look back on what happened Saturday, it doesn't really register for me all that much when you look at the scope of the Eagles season. Yeah, it sucks they lost. I'd much rather them be 14-1 than 13-2. I don't like seeing Dallas happy on Christmas. But ultimately, I don't think I saw anything Saturday that has any effect on the rest of the Eagles' path as far as performance. I didn't see anything where I was like, wow, that's a major issue. Wow, this guy had a terrible game and I'm worried about him now. Oh, this scheme was this, that, or the other thing. And no, it was kind of they played well. They were down, obviously, the MVP. They were on the road against a very good football team. They had a chance to win it at the end. They had a couple stupid turnovers that are not indicative of how good they've been with the ball this year. And two of those turnovers, you can take them off the board if Jalen Hurts is playing because he does not make those throws that Gardner Minshew made to throw those interceptions. And we will get into the talk about Quez Watkins and how much of an impact he played in those interceptions. But to me, largely, Tom, I don't look at that game as something that scared me in any capacity. How did you feel watching that Saturday on Christmas Eve?
Well, yeah, so obviously the hype is teetered down a little bit when Jalen Hurts is ruled out, and you know it's going to be Gardner Minshew. So after Eagles fans have had that game circled on their schedule since the schedule came out, since the opponents came out, didn't have the same feel as we thought it would when it's Dallas Eagles in Dallas. Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott with a chance to clinch the number 1 seed. But I found myself really, really excited going into that game and just as hyped up as any other Dallas Cowboys game. I know a lot of people said, it doesn't really mean much. You pretty much have everything locked up anyway. The Saints game, you could argue, is bigger. To me, every single game is the most important game until that number 1 seed is clinched, until the NFC East is clinched. So, yes, this game might not be the most meaningful game in the last 3 games of the year. The Saints game might be much more meaningful. Because you were an underdog going into that game, I think a lot of people's expectations were tempered. But the way that they shot themselves in the foot, when you have a backup quarterback, when you're in Dallas going against the second best team in the NFC record-wise, it was a frustrating outcome to that game. Very exciting game. Just as a viewer of football, that game was awesome. Back and forth, roller coaster, huge play after huge play, mistake after mistake. As just a fan of football and watching the NFL, that was an awesome game to watch.
It was a great game,
And
right?
I'm sure everybody out there had the same feeling. Obviously, Eagles fans didn't feel so awesome once that final buzzer went off, quote unquote. But yeah, you had an opportunity to clinch the 1 seed. You were up in that game, and you couldn't get it done. And a lot of those mistakes were fixable, and that's why I'm mostly positive after this weekend, but I also don't want this game to just be swept under the rug where, it didn't matter, we'll get the Saints next week. No, now you have to play your starters the entire game next week against the Saints. Injuries can happen, as they've happened all season to the Eagles with Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Avonte Maddox again, and now Lane Johnson. So because you weren't able to finish that game out against the Cowboys and get a win there and not clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC East, it's a whole nother game. It's another 60 minutes, and it's another opportunity for your starters or for key players to get injured. So, yes, mostly positive after this Eagles game from what I saw, because let's face it, you dropped 34 points on what was supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league coming into that game with your backup quarterback and with Dallas Goedert, who was back for the first time in, a month and a half? So mostly positive, but I also don't want this game to be completely swept under the rug because it was a missed opportunity, and now you have to play 60 more minutes of football and risk injury and try and come away with the 1 seed next week.
Well, a lot of people felt like they were going to play the starters in some capacity against New Orleans anyway. I was against it.
Now they have to, and it's all capacity. Now it's the entire game, unless you're up huge in the second half or something like that. But instead of it being potentially just a quarter or a half, now it's you're playing 60 minutes.
No, I got you. That's not my biggest concern, though. Like, you have that leeway, and injuries are a part of the NFL. The less games your starters can play, probably the better, but there's also that conversation about rust and sitting guys for a month, and how does that work when you come out and you got to play a really good team for the first time in a month of competitive football. So maybe it's a fringe blessing in disguise that they do have to play another competitive week. Not that you wanted to lose to Dallas. And they certainly did not play like they wanted to lose to Dallas. That team fought. The Eagles fought for that win and unfortunately came up a little bit short. But I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that you have to actually go out and beat the Saints and hopefully not worry about the Giants. Because if you go
Whole
out...
nother conversation.
Yeah, we'll get into that later in the week when we look forward to the game against New Orleans. But if you go out and you lose to the Saints, well, then we start to get into a little bit of what are we doing territory. But I don't know. You talked about mistakes that the Eagles made and things that need to be corrected. What were the real big mistakes of the game? Because when I look at them, I see like the Miles Sanders fumble, the Boston Scott fumble. Those are rarities. Like, those are anomalies. Miles Sanders, that's his second fumble of the year. And his first only came last week. Now, maybe we're getting into that, mentally he's in that zone again where he's having fumbling issues because 2 in 2 weeks is not exactly encouraging. But the track record this year says that's not an issue to be concerned about. The Boston Scott fumble was on the handoff. Jalen Hurts is not going to have that issue. Jalen Hurts has not done that all year. We haven't seen that. He's more comfortable with these guys than Gardner Minshew is. So take that one off the board. And then the 2 Minshew interceptions, he's not going to be playing quarterback in games that matter. So I don't know. Where else do you see the mistakes? Defensively?
Well, I mean, 4 turnovers is 4 turnovers, whether you like it or not. Like, Quez Watkins is still going to play big minutes going forward. Miles Sanders is still your bell cow back, and I don't have any issue with Miles Sanders. I think that was an anomaly. That's something that we haven't seen. I know we've seen it during his career here in Philadelphia. Miles Sanders has been a really, really good running back this entire season. You could argue he's been a top 10 back in the entire league this year, maybe even higher. So, but 4 turnovers is 4 turnovers. You still got 40 points dropped on you. I know injuries happen. I know Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was out. I know Avonte Maddox left the game early. That's still 40 points dropped on you, which we thought was one of the better defenses in the league. And Dallas is really good offensively. So, and you also had a 3rd and 30. You had, I thought, adjustments were made a little too late. The fact that Boston Scott was getting carries in that situation in general is something that always drives me crazy. And I like Boston Scott. This isn't to sit here and hate on a guy like Boston Scott. I just think his role should be limited. And for him to get touches over a guy like Miles Sanders, especially in big moments of the game like that, that always drives me crazy. So when I look at what went wrong, how will these things come back to haunt them? How often are these things going to happen again? Is this something that's going to be repeatable, the kind of mistakes that they made? Maybe not, but maybe they are. Maybe this is the start of something. But, yeah, when you have 4 turnovers, when you allow a 3rd and 30, when CeeDee Lamb absolutely torches you and the Dallas Cowboys drop 40 points on you, I can't say there was just nothing that I'm concerned about going forward. Again, we'll see how repeatable these issues are, but they did happen. And this game actually happened, and now you're need to win and still have yet to clinch the number 1 seed.
Right. We're going to disagree a little bit on that.
That's
and
fine.
We've got something more coming up later in the program dealing with the concerns about Dallas and the playoffs and everything like that. I'll tell you this. I'm not concerned remotely about New Orleans. I don't even think the Eagles have to really show up to beat the New Orleans Saints. I mean, come on.
You might be right, yeah.
You're playing them at home. You're seeing a team that just has no interest in playing football anymore come into the link and play against a juggernaut team. Like
they're playing a little bit better. They're not nearly. They were the number 5 pick overall. Now they're out of the top 10. I think.
Oh they're out of the. Dude, they're not remotely on the same level. The Eagles with a backup quarterback just hung 34 on Dallas. This team could put 50 on New Orleans in their sleep.
I think that's the mindset of a lot of Eagles fans. Who cares? It was one game against Dallas. You probably shouldn't have won. You weren't the favorite. We'll beat the Saints. Don't worry about it. Okay. I'll get there when we get there. Right now, you had a chance to lock up the number 1 seed, and yes, you probably should beat the Saints at home. The Saints still have a really solid defense, so I know that's a lot of Eagles' mindset. It's just, it's all right. We'll get them next time, guys.
It is,
I'm not quite there because you had a missed opportunity. You were up big, and you shot yourself in the foot. I'm not going overly negative here, but I'm just saying I don't have the same exact mindset of a lot of Eagles fans who are just, oh, well, guys, we'll get them next time. Don't worry about it. It's just one game. No, it was a missed opportunity, and now your starters got to go out there. And, yeah, they should beat the Saints, as I said, but a lot of teams should beat teams in the NFL, and it doesn't happen every single week. So I'm just a little more critical, I guess you could say, of the Philadelphia Eagles. And maybe that's not fair when the backup quarterback is out there against one of the best teams in the NFC. But there's still work to be done here, and it's not complete yet. And I think a lot of Eagles fans are acting like the work is completely done. And I don't think that's right.
610-632-0975 is how you jump into the program today. I
sound negative. I'm negative Nancy over there. I hate to be negative Nancy.
To me, you sound like you're overly critical in a game that they didn't need.
I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm just not trying to completely sweep this loss under the rug. And, don't worry, we're getting to the Super Bowl. Why can I, though?
You built a big rug. You have a 13-win rug to sweep it under. You are fine. You got the biggest rug in the NFL. And what's it there for? To not be able to sweep a game.
They put themselves in a great position.
Exactly.
They've
earned the right for us to not be critical about them over this one game. They've earned and it's
Saints
not
2 straight wins, by the way.
Who'd they play?
Doesn't matter. 2 straight wins.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Falcons and Browns.
They stink. They stink.
Probably. You're probably right.
They beat Deshaun Watson, who's terrible, and the Falcons are just not.
I'm not going to sit here and go, let's have a parade. Let's already start. 1 seed's clinched. We got the Saints this week. I'm not there yet.
They got the 1 seed still.
Okay. Well,
but
we'll see.
It's not like they went. If they had gone out and they had lost to Dallas 40-14, we're having a much different conversation. They should have won that game. And I understand that bothering you a little bit, but that doesn't then carry over to, well, they should have beaten a lot of people think the second best, or some people think the best team in football in the Dallas Cowboys, which is a wrong thought.
ESPN does, that's for sure.
So let's call it as ESPN sees it and say Dallas is, in quotations, I'm doing this. By the way, we're on YouTube just like normal for the Jockey Cage show, so you can go ahead and check us out there. But that Dallas is the best team in football. Well, you went out there and you should have beat the best team in football on the road in a big spot where they needed it and you didn't need it. And you had your backup quarterback who is just happening to be backing up the MVP of the league. It's fine. And then you're going to look at New Orleans and say they're going to play against you at your place? No shot. They're perfectly fine. We don't have to worry about it. Now, there are things in the game that are due criticism. I think
which is what I'm saying.
Nah.
What do you mean? That's literally what I'm saying to you.
I think that the right way to approach it is more individual player criticism than looking at the team as having any type of issues whatsoever. Like when I look at the performance that Slay had, I don't think it was his best game.
Agreed.
Now, going on Twitter and tweeting at his wife about the performance that he had is flat out ridiculous.
Yeah,
so we need to never do that again. Especially for someone in Jennifer Slay that gives out jerseys all the time, is very interactive on Philadelphia Eagles Twitter spheres, and seems by all accounts a great person who's very charitable. And like Slay has never caused an issue. It makes no sense. It's weirdo behavior. Do not do that stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
But you're looking at a situation where, and this doesn't excuse it. I don't say but. It's like, oh, well, it's okay. No, but I understand you saying Slay didn't have a great game. I don't think that Miles Sanders had his best game, that costly turnover. Boston Scott, that costly turnover. Gardner Minshew, I think, could be, even though he had a pretty good game stats-wise, you look at the line for him, 24 for 40. A little bit surprised he threw that many times. 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, of course, the 2 picks. Better game than I thought he was going to have statistically, but I think he has a better game out there if he takes care of the football a little bit better.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. I don't really look. And Quez Watkins did not have a good game at all.
You could argue both of those interceptions were on Quez Watkins. The fact that he did not come back to the ball.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different conversation of why is he being targeted over guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, which is something we'll get into. But, yeah, mistakes all around for the Philadelphia Eagles in Saturday's game. And they still were, a possession away from winning that football game against the second-best team.
20 yards away. Yeah, it's not even possession. They had it late, and apparently, and I got to go ahead and watch the video back again because I did pregame, and I rushed over to a bar to watch the second half, really, is what I caught. And you don't really see it all that well when you're sitting in a bar and everything. We didn't have postgame, so it was kind of like my game off or whatever. But apparently, Devontae Smith was open more underneath before Gardner Minshew tried to hit like the lob over the top to him on that final play. But there were
some missed throws that could have been made, missed decisions. But it's a backup quarterback in that situation. If you were expecting an MVP performance, then your expectations were way too high going into that game.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I don't think you should have gone into that game really with any expectations. That was kind of a free play. That was, how casinos will give you free plays on slots?
Yes.
That was the Eagles' free play for the year. Maybe you'll hit something. And you got a cherry and a cherry. And then you got the 7-up at the end. And you're like, oh, I was so close to hitting something. But it doesn't matter. You didn't risk anything. That's kind of how I feel about the overarching view of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's jump into the phone lines. Cousin Ryan's up early today. Ryan, how you doing, man? How was your Christmas?
Connor, Christmas was great. How was yours?
Can't complain at all, man. It was wonderful. Nice Sixers win. Got everything I wanted from Santa. Everything was nice.
Good. I'm happy that worked out for you.
Yeah, appreciate it. What are you doing? Are you working today?
Heading into work right now.
Oh, man, God bless you. Stay warm, man.
Thank you. Well, I mean, look at it. My positive thought, like you guys were talking about, is the Dallas Cowboys say that they are world champion material, but they almost got beat by a backup quarterback who only played one game last season. Let's put that in perspective. The Dallas Cowboys are trash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd call them trash, Rye, but I get what you're saying. They're not. That performance didn't show me best team in football from them.
Nowhere close.
So, is there anything that you're worried about coming out of that game?
The what I'm worried about coming out of that game is reports that Jalen Hurts may not be ready for the Saints. That makes me wonder what is really going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I got you. I still look at it as there's no chance. And, right, I appreciate the call, man. You have a good rest of your day and glad you enjoyed your Christmas. I look at that as all I need Jalen Hurts ready for is whatever their first-round matchup is. If that's divisional, if it's, God forbid, wild card and something falls apart at the end here, I just need him healthy for playoffs.
I think the initial report when it first came out that he was hurt and we saw the lines moving all over the place, MVP lines, the Dallas lines, what was it, I guess last Monday or last Tuesday, whenever it was. The initial reports after that was 2 weeks. And we heard, might miss the rest of the regular season, and then the Eagles take it back a little bit. They're like, oh, no, he might play this week. I think a little bit of that was just gamesmanship. I'll still say this. I am going into this rest of the season with the expectations of Jalen Hurts probably isn't playing the rest of the regular season. And I think that's okay because you're right. It only matters if he is healthy for playoff time. Yeah, there's going to be rust. You'd rather there be a little bit of rust than he goes out there in a game he doesn't need to be in and further injures himself. So, yeah, I honestly would be shocked if he plays in any game the rest of the regular season.
I'm 50-50 right now on the Saints game. I got to hear what we hear from the coaching staff and see how everything goes there before I'm sure that we're going to just straight up rule him out. Because they played that little, and I think we all think it was a smokescreen this past week by saying, hey, we don't know if he's out yet, until I think they officially made the announcement on Thursday that Gardner Minshew was going to be the starter. But we'd all known since basically Monday that Hurts was not playing. Yeah, I don't know if that was a full smokescreen, if Jalen Hurts was actually telling them, like, hey, I might be good. Like, it depends how, like, if you guys want to start me or whatever. Like, if you have to start me, I'm good. So, I don't know. I want to hear how they update the narrative from the coaching staff this week before I'm totally sure that we're not seeing Hurts on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see as the week goes along if he's practicing it all, what updates come out. Nick Sirianni's going to speak, 3 times this week, so we'll obviously get updates, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's something similar to gamesmanship last week where, he might play. And I'm sure Hurts wants to go out there and play as much as possible. He's probably in Nick Sirianni's ear like, I'm good. But the Eagles are going to do what's best for Jalen Hurts as the human, as the player in that situation. So we'll find out, right? We'll find out as the week goes along.
We certainly will. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in, taking your reaction on Eagles, Cowboys, and what happened over the Christmas holiday. And, the Sixers, they had themselves a wonderful little Christmas up there in the Big Apple at Madison Square Garden. We are also going to break down what they've been doing lately, the 8-0 in their last 8 games, Philadelphia 76ers. And another
That's not bad.
Comeback. That is objectively not bad, Tom.
Quite the opposite.
They played a really, really nice game yesterday. George Niang, a couple of late threes. James Harden looked pretty darn good. Joel Embiid was the same dominant self, continuing to lead the association in points per game. The Sixers have a little bit of something cooking, and you could see a familiar face return to the lineup some point this week as they're on this road trip. So that's interesting. But coming up next, I know I said, Tom, I don't have any big negative takeaways from the game against Dallas on Saturday. Well, there could be one. There could be a really big one. And there's a chance that it would be the biggest loss of the year. And yes, that includes Jalen Hurts not being able to play against Dallas on Christmas Eve. We'll discuss coming up next. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for the John Kincaid Show. We're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
This is not radio fantasy camp. We're on the air here.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tags and $3.89 for Barbera's Big Finish event. 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera Dynamic December Discount Way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo, and I love betting on the NFL. I'm always finding new player props or game props. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge is that you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Perfect for tonight's game. Monday Night Football brings the Chargers to the Colts. I don't love the point spread, but I do like the Chargers on the money line, the over on the passing yards for Herbert, and the over on Chargers total points. FanDuel is super easy to use. They have awesome odds boosts and awesome specials too. And when you win, you get paid fast. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with my promo code SCORDO, that's my last name, for your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code SCORDO. And make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Hi, I'm Adam Flager. At Flager & Associates, we've specialized in personal injury cases for more than 30 years. A car accident or a slip and fall in icy conditions can change your life. Our clients have peace of mind knowing they have a law firm that handles every aspect of their case so they can concentrate on getting well again. We won't rest until we get top dollar for your case. Call Flager & Associates at 215-953-5200 or visit flagerlaw.com. That's FLAGERLAW.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
We all know Philly sports is big business, and we've got you covered every weekday with the Fanatic's Business of Sports reports that are powered by Pico for Business. For information on how your company can save with Pico's incentives, go to pico.com/business.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere. On Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
We are back here on the John Kincaid Show. Yes, I am not John Kincaid. I'm Connor Thomas. You hear me on the show all the time, but never in this seat while the rest of the guys are enjoying their much-deserved break. They've got off the week from Christmas to New Year's. You will hear the show back in the new year, but for the remainder of the week, you got me hosting in place of John Kincaid, and for the next 4 days, Monday through Thursday, Tom Alvord is here along for the ride with me. Dan Fritz on the board. So we have a fun little holiday switch-up. You're going to be hearing a lot of that over the course of the day and over the course of the week here on the Fanatic, as a lot of people take their deserved time for the holiday. So that is all fun. I do want to let you guys know, of course, Football Monday on the Fanatic is presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant. Whatever it takes, go to nopaybryant.com. It is a Football Monday because we are indeed recapping Eagles-Cowboys. And Tom, as you pointed out in the first segment, this is basically Eagles postgame.
Yes,
because
correct.
there was no postgame. It was Christmas Eve. We all got to go home and spend a little time with our families and everything like that, which is nice. So it was part of the pregame show with Devon Givens and Jamie Lynch. It was good to see those guys. I haven't seen, obviously, Jamie in a while, and Devon, we don't really cross paths because he's normally 6 to 10 p.m., and I'm normally 6 to 10 a.m., so there's not a lot of crossover there.
Nah, not much.
So it was a little fun crossover, too. I love this time of the year when we do basically like a bunch of crossover shows. You get to work with people you haven't worked with in a while. You get to hear, if you're out there listening, some of your favorite hosts on the station crossover. It's like those all-star days that we do where we'll mix and match a bunch of different people. That's kind of what the holidays are.
Feels like it, yeah.
So that's always a lot of fun.
Every day is a wild card when it comes to holiday season.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Never know.
Goodness. And they put me in this chair? Man, anything is possible. Hopefully, I'm just hoping I make it to Friday without Coach giving me a call or our program director, Chuck D'Amico, getting on my phone saying, hey, kid, Tom's going to run the show Thursday.
As long as you make the Thursday, then that's cool.
That's all?
Yeah, then we're good after that.
I got you. I think I can handle it through the week. Again, 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Now, I told you in the opening segment that I don't really have anything that I was super concerned about coming out of the loss on Saturday by the Philadelphia Eagles in Dallas to the Dallas Cowboys. A 40-34 loss that ended on the last play with a chance for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the game, and Gardner Minshew with an overthrow. Whatever, that's okay. The actual playing of the game, I didn't have any big issues with because of the situation the Eagles were placed in with the Jalen Hurts injury. Yeah, not totally truthful on my part. There is a major concern that came out of this game against the Dallas Cowboys, a major one, and it's your starting right tackle. Lane Johnson went down in the game. He was walking around on the sidelines, but he never came back in the game. The pivotal Miles Sanders fumble. I don't know if you felt this way, Tom, but I've talked to a couple other people that I saw over the holidays, some family, some friends, and I was like, yo, if that Miles Sanders fumble happens with Lane Johnson on the field, he recovers that ball. He absolutely recovers that ball. I know that's crazy to say.
Probably, but that didn't pop in my head. I'm not going to lie.
That was the first thing I thought.
Really?
Of. Yes.
Okay.
That was the first thing I thought of is Lane Johnson has that ball.
He just has that much better hands than...
He played quarterback in college.
Yeah.
He definitely. He makes that play.
Anything can happen when the ball hits the turf, and when fumbles happen in the NFL, you see the ball bouncing around everywhere. But yeah, you're probably right. He most likely recovers that in that situation.
Right, and that I know that's a minimal part of it. Like the idea is, hey, just don't fumble. But when I see Jack Driscoll laying out like a lineman rather than like Lane Johnson, who has a touchdown reception to his name, who has got some ball skills, a little bit more than your average.
Probably one of the best athletes when it comes to offensive linemen in the league, yes.
Exactly. I'm like, ooh, he probably recovers that
That's
fumble.
fair.
But that's not the point. The big point is he's on the sideline, and we find out after the game, well, it's an issue, some type of abdominal or groin issue, and the Eagles haven't flat out said exactly what's going on with Lane Johnson, but we know the situation right now is that we're awaiting the results of an MRI on that abdominal groin area to try and figure out how severe the injury to Lane Johnson is. I know Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the league this year. Whether or not he'll win it, that is a fact to me. That is not subjective. That is objective. He is the most valuable player in the NFL this year. Is it possible that he's not the most valuable player on this Eagles team? That's a weird thought to have, and it's contradictory. But when I look at Lane Johnson potentially going down for an extended period of time, let's say, I always say this, and John Kincaid gets mad at me for it because he's like, you're not a doctor. I know I'm not a doctor. So I'll preface this by saying I'm not a doctor. I just play one on the radio.
Okay.
So don't take any of this as fact, but an abdominal injury, the first thing I think of is a hernia. And if that requires some type of minor surgery to repair, that could be a month, man. And the good news is the Eagles have put themselves in position where they could have a month's worth of football that doesn't really matter. But this could also be something that he ends up having to play through. It could be something more severe than that. I don't know if season ending is on the table. We don't know. We're flying blind right now on Lane Johnson. But that injury is a huge, huge issue for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Tim McManus, shortly after, I guess this was Christmas morning, so yesterday morning, right tackle Lane Johnson is dealing with a groin abdomen injury per source. MRI is expected to examine issue further, which I would think would probably be today. I would think they get that done.
Yeah, because yesterday was Christmas. So
Yeah.
I imagine they're not bringing him in.
No, I wouldn't think so. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. It doesn't have me too confident, and I'm a little bit worried, to be completely honest, because you're right. When you hear groin abdomen, that doesn't usually sound like a 1 week thing, like a day-to-day thing. That's more of a week-to-week thing. Again, this is all speculation. We will see, but Lane Johnson, this team has a ton of MVPs this season. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown's been tremendous. CJ, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, despite maybe not having his best game, he's still been really, really good for this team. The defensive line as a whole. Lane Johnson, you could argue, is the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles. So I understand why you say he might be the most valuable. Again, Jalen Hurts is the most valuable player in the league this year to me, in my opinion, and I think that was even more obvious after seeing Minshew. Not that I thought Minshew played pretty well for the most part, given the situation he's thrown in there against the Dallas Cowboys. Christmas Eve, 4:30, the primetime game. But regardless, Lane Johnson might be the most important Eagle for this football team. We looked at the stats, obviously, in the break. The Eagles, during Lane Johnson's career, without Lane Johnson, 12-21. With Lane Johnson, 79, 47, and 1. So pretty important when you look at it. And you have a stat you mentioned about him when it comes to sacks allowed and everything like that. Which the dude's a Hall of Famer. It just seems like at this point with how good he has been.
Absolute lock to me to be that. And you look at the stats, and this is a tweet from John Clark. This is a stat that got put out. And we knew that Lane Johnson had a long-running streak of not giving up sacks. Well, that streak, heading into the Dallas game, 27 games worth of no sacks, 928 consecutive pass plays without allowing a sack from his position. That's unheard of. It's the NFL record. It's the longest anyone's ever gone. And here's why I say that the Lane Johnson injury is more impactful than the Jalen Hurts injury. Look at what Gardner Minshew did. He's not Jalen Hurts. This is not a knock on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is incredible. Again, he's the MVP of the league in my mind. But Gardner Minshew came out, and against what was supposed to be a pretty good Dallas defense, I know they've got injuries in their secondary, and Trayvon Diggs jumps every route in existence.
Yes,
but
he does.
He threw for 355 and 2 touchdowns. I know he threw the 2 picks, but 355 and 2 touchdowns is not something to just wipe away.
Just ignore, yeah.
About. Yes. You're not getting that level of production to what Lane Johnson does from your backup right tackle. Jack Driscoll, he's a nice player. I think there's a place in this league where he's going to start someday.
Agreed.
But it's not on this team this year. It shouldn't be. He's not what Lane Johnson is to this team, and it's a totally different dynamic. Right tackle is one of the most important positions in football. It doesn't have the glitz and glam of the quarterback position where you see them touch the ball every single time, but Lane Johnson is the best in the business at one of the most crucial positions, and the drop-off from him to his backup is significantly larger than the drop-off from Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew, and that's already a huge drop.
And again, it's not because Jack Driscoll is not a good player. I believe he is a high-quality backup and probably a starter on some of the worst teams around in the NFL. I truly believe that. That's just how good Jeff Stoutland does as the offensive line coach. But the reason it feels like such a big drop-off, you're right, is because Lane Johnson is legit like potential Hall of Famer. So when you have potential Hall of Fame, best right tackle in football, possibly talent, anyone is going to be a drop-off after that. So, yeah, I do have concern about this. I really do. Because, and again, Jeff Stoutland, one of the best O-line coaches in the league. Eagles, they had the best offensive line in football, and that's not just because of the starting five. That's because of the depth as well. There's a ton of depth on this line. But when you're going down a playoff stretch, when potentially the most important player on your offensive line and potentially offense is out, potentially, again, this is all speculation, we shall see. Yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing going forward for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, obviously, prayers up. Hopefully everything's good with Lane Johnson. But that was one of the biggest takeaways I had. And my biggest negative takeaway, again, I didn't mean to, I don't try to sound too negative when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 13-2 so far this season. They dropped 34 points on what we thought was going to be one of the best defenses in the league. They almost won with the backup quarterback in Dallas against the second best team in the NFC. So I don't mean to sound too negative, but the biggest negative takeaway I have, and that's part of the issue when you don't win and you have to play another game, you have to play your starters an entire game, is there's risk for injury. There's risk for Lane Johnson, a player like Lane Johnson, to go down, which we'll see how long he is going to be out for. Avonte Maddox being out, just comes back. You saw the drop-off. Again, we talk about drop-offs when it comes to Lane Johnson and Jack Driscoll. You saw the drop-off of Avonte Maddox and Josiah Scott. He was getting absolutely torched by CeeDee Lamb in that game. So it's just, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, we all think he's going to be back. A lacerated kidney is a lacerated kidney. Like, I don't know if there's necessarily a timetable on that. So, yeah, injuries popping up was definitely the biggest negative I took away from that Dallas game. And obviously, we'll see what happens with Lane Johnson here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and we'll also, bears mentioning Avonte Maddox with the injury to his foot, his toe,
yeah.
whatever that is. I mean, turf toe can be a nagging thing if that's what that
Michael Thomas is out for the season with turf toe.
Well, Michael Thomas is a baby back bitch, so I'm not too worried about
Agreed, but all right.
That dude has no interest in playing for that team and hasn't for a couple years now.
Again, it doesn't have to be entire 16 games like Michael Thomas, but he probably was. It's probably a couple week injury if it's bad turf toe.
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah, no, I feel I get what you're saying. It's definitely a concern. Now, I don't look at the Saints game though as opportunity for more injury, even though it is.
I mean, you can never go in with a mindset like that, and I know the players aren't, but there is potential when you're playing 60 extra minutes of football in the NFL. There's always
for sure.
potential.
For sure. It just doesn't strike me as a game where the Eagles will have to do that much. Like this Saints game, the game plan should be what it should have been against the Chicago Bears, which is just pound the rock, don't do anything crazy, take your deep shots when you get a chance to AJ and Devontae, and go ahead and you can figure the rest out later because that should be enough to take care of New Orleans. But, man, yeah, the Lane Johnson injury, that was my biggest takeaway from the game Saturday in Dallas, is that if Lane Johnson is done for the year or done for even enough time that he misses a divisional playoff game, this team is going to have a much tougher road than what they would have with 65 out there on the right edge. It's not an easy road without your starting right tackle, even though I do remember a Super Bowl winning team in 2017 losing a big-time tackle partway through the year and ending up all right.
Yeah, they did okay that year. It's, of course, that there's always a possibility of that. Again, the depth is really strong here, but some of the defensive lines you may have to face come playoff time is why it becomes a major issue. Like
Bosa,
again,
Parsons,
exactly.
with no Lane Johnson.
Which, by the way, wasn't it odd? When Lane Johnson goes out, Michael Parsons was still going up against Jordan Mailata the rest of the game, basically. Wouldn't you think, maybe move him to the backup right tackle instead of going against Jordan Mailata, who might not be having the best season. Obviously, I believe he's a Pro Bowl alternate this season.
Yeah.
But a little bit of up and down season from Jordan Mailata. I just found that strange, and I don't think that happens again if they're prepared, if the opposing team is prepared, hey, Lane Johnson's going to be out. We're going to attack Jack Driscoll this entire game.
Yeah, I just
found that weird.
I don't know if they saw something. I don't know if that was an attempt to pressure Gardner Minshew to decide that A.J. Brown wasn't on. Like, I don't know what goes into that.
I just found it odd that you wouldn't attack a weak point.
I agree.
Much like they were attacking Josiah Scott with CeeDee Lamb, you would think the opposite or the same thing would happen on the other side of the ball.
I agree with you. But that was really the issue with Saturday was a couple injuries. One in Avonte Maddox that I don't think will be hugely serious, but we saw the impact right away when he went out of that game. He was playing incredibly well.
He was.
To start. He made some awesome plays. That one where Dak Prescott rolled out.
And that's where he got hurt on the sack.
And Avonte just comes flying in like a cruise missile and takes his head off. Like, he was making plays. That guy is an important part of this team. As a slot corner, he's up there for best in the NFL at that position.
Yep.
And to lose him for more time than what you've already lost him for this year would be annoying. But, again, this is the luxury that you get with the 1 seed and why it's important to beat the Saints this week or lock it up. The couple weeks off of not mattering. If you beat the Saints, the Giants game won't matter. And then you'll have the week off for the wild card round to get played. That's hugely beneficial for when injuries like this start popping up. We just got to hope that when we get the reports, and hopefully we'll hear today from Nick Sirianni what's going on with injury issues, we'll know exactly what we're looking at as far as total time frame. Now, Tom, we didn't get a win, though, in Philadelphia sports this weekend. A nice win.
Yes, we did.
A New York-style Big Apple win by the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday on Christmas. And you wanted to talk about, well, we know about the NBA season, and Christmas is a real big milestone for what some people would call the start of the season.
Yeah, so in a lot of people's minds, Christmas Day is the unofficial start to the NBA season. Obviously, NFL is in full swing before that. You have college football going on strong throughout that entire time. Still, even like some playoff baseball still leaking in there at the start of the NBA season. If Christmas is the unofficial start of the NBA season, throughout all the up and downs of this short season for the Philadelphia 76ers so far, 32 games in, you haven't had Tyrese Maxey for the last month and a half, I believe it's been. You have not had James Harden for stretches. You haven't had Joel Embiid, and not stretches. He was out for a month as well, James Harden. You haven't had Joel Embiid for a couple games here or there. I've heard fire Doc Rivers going like crazy after any single loss that happens when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers. But then I look at the record, and they've won 8 straight games, 7 of those being on the homestand where they went 7-0, and then they win yesterday against the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden. 8 straight games the Sixers have won. They are 20-12 on the season through 32 games. 3 games back of the Boston Celtics for the 1 seed. So I ask you, Connor, despite all these ups and downs, despite Doc Rivers still being this head coach, have your expectations changed from the beginning of the season, from before the season? Because a ton of injuries have happened. This team has yet to build a chemistry together. I think you're seeing a lot more from the bench than we saw last season. That's obvious. So coming into the season, and now we look at December 25th, which is today's the 26th, but December 25th, the unofficial start of the NBA season. Is this where you thought the Sixers would be? Are you feeling more confident with what you've seen from the Sixers than you earlier in the season? Are you feeling less confident because of Doc Rivers, because of maybe the way James Harden has been playing, even though he's been playing pretty well as of late, because of the injuries still popping up, because maybe the lack of depth? So I ask you, what are your thoughts on the Philadelphia 76ers right now compared to what you were thinking about them coming into the season?
Yeah, I don't know that the expectations have shifted at all. The expectations for this team do not hinge on the regular season. Like, there are 82 games that don't matter, which is crazy to say. But no, there are legitimately 82 games that don't matter. They've been the 1 seed, they've been the 5 seed, they've been the 4 seed, they've been the 3 seed.
So do we just not talk about them for the rest of for the entire regular season?
No, it's not. Don't talk about them. There are things that they will do, but it won't change the expectation.
But the regular season is important because seeding is important. There's a much difference between. Of course, the playoffs matter. We have to get out of the second round this season.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get out of the second round when you're the 1 or 2 seed compared to the 6 or 7 seed or in a play-in game potentially. So the regular season just isn't completely meaningless for the.
Yeah, but you asked me about my expectations. The 32 games is not going to shift that. Certainly.
Well, did 22 games shift it when they were under 500?
No,
so you've been steady
a long
Eddie
season. Think about where Boston was at this point last year.
Sure, absolutely.
Teams do this all the time in the NBA. What matters is what they end up doing when spring rolls around and you're looking at the final stretch of the season and where they break out seeding-wise. But, no, the expectations aren't shifting. Now, what I've seen over the 8-game win streak and really over the past 2 games, the huge comeback against the Clippers at home and then going on the road yesterday on Christmas, and a nice comeback Madison Square Garden against a Knicks team that's going to be a problem in a couple years. If they keep that core together, like they're not – people are like, oh, well, the Knicks are good this year. They're all right. They're too young. Jalen Brunson is still coming into his own as a top guard in the NBA, and I think he has a pretty darn good ceiling. Like, he looked nice yesterday. I like the kid's game. You've got a young court, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, still relatively young, Isaiah Hartenstein, quickly,
yeah.
Like, these are guys that if they keep that core together and do well in free agency, make some key trades, like that team could be a top 5 team in the East competitively for a while if they continue on the path they're on. But they're not that now. They're not there yet. That's a young team. It's a talented young team, but they're not quite.
They're more of a play-in type team.
I put them very much in the Orlando Magic sphere where they can make like a little bit of.
I don't think that's fair. The Magic are one of the worst teams in the.
The Magic just beat Boston twice in a row. The Magic are not that bad. The Magic are making
games under 500.
They are, but that's the thing. The Knicks are just a year further along that path to me. Like, that's similar to
they're
how
a year ahead of the Magic, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're in the similar sphere to me, whereas they can be annoying, but that's not a team I worry about to have playoff issues with. But I say all that to say they are a good team. That's a quality win against a team on the road that played you really well and shot the lights out in the first half.
Yes, they did.
But this has been, to go back to the expectations conversation, this has been a confirmation of what I felt about the Sixers coming into this year. The past 2 games specifically, but the 8-game win streak. I thought this was a championship caliber roster skill-wise. Now, will they develop into that? Who knows? You got to see the regular season, see the seeding, see the playoffs, and all of that. But the expectation does not change. You build your expectations for an NBA team based on the skill level of the roster. You have James Harden, you have Joel Embiid, you have Tyrese Maxey, who you expect to make another big jump. You have Tobias Harris, who is a nice fourth option. You got a bench. You got some young guys on the bench you really like. This is a team that you should expect to compete for a championship on paper. And that's where expectations come from. But then the 82-game regular season either confirms or denies whether your expectations were correct for this team.
And that's the biggest thing. That's what my expectations have been confirmed after what I've seen. This is the first time that I've seen this team play this season in the 32 games and like, okay, this is actually a legit contender potentially here. And that's why they've changed a little bit, because coming into the season, I was like, yeah, I think they're going to be up there in that top tier. I think they might be a top 4 seed, whatever it may be. This confirmed it the 8-game stretch that they've been on. Now, you could look back and say, they really haven't beaten a ton of great teams on this 8-game stretch. It's really hard to go 8-0 in the NBA, regardless of who you're playing. You could play the Charlotte Hornets 8 straight times, who are just a dumpster fire right now. The Detroit Pistons 8 straight times. It's really hard to go 8-0 against those teams, let alone going against different teams every single night. But yeah, that's what this stretch has done to me. It's confirmed that this is one of the best teams in the East. Or they have potential to be one of the best teams in the East, which is what I thought they were going to be coming into the season. And you look at the way that they're winning these games, like you mentioned, where they're getting down early, where a team like the Clippers and Knicks are shooting the lights out, and past Sixers games, even from earlier this season, they probably lose that game. They just don't have enough firepower. No, they've seemed comfortable this entire in the past 2 games, the entire game, despite getting down big. It never seems like they're out of it. James Harden's playing really good basketball right now. I think he has 30 assists and 4 turnovers in his last 2 games combined.
That's pretty darn good.
Not terrible. Yeah. So that's what this past 8-game stretch has been for me. It's been a confirmation of what I thought I was going to get earlier in the season, which this has a potential to be a top 3 team in the East.
This is a championship caliber team.
Yes.
They're playing like it right now. Will they be playing like it the rest of the season? Will they be playing like it come the playoffs? I don't know. That's still to be determined. But what I've seen over the past couple games, I'm in lockstep with you, Tommy. This was, and I tweeted it out after the Clippers win on, what was that, Thursday night?
Friday night.
Friday night. Remember, this is the moment that you realize the Sixers can be a championship team. A championship winner.
Did you get a lot of favorites?
I got a couple. A lot of people. I got some comments. They're like, "You're an idiot," but that's every.
Well, that's just Twitter.
That's everything that I tweet. But
yes.
But yeah. So that was the point to me where I was like, okay, regardless of what happens the rest of the way, injuries, lulls in wins not coming, losing streaks, winning streaks, whatever. I know following that Clippers game that this team has the talent, but there have been other Sixers teams in the past that have had the talent. I think last year's team, healthy, had the talent. Obviously, the team that lost to Toronto on the Kawhi Leonard, I don't even want to talk about it, but they obviously had the talent. There were teams in the past, Sixers teams.
They were the 1
talent.
seed, the Atlanta Hawks year, where they get bounced.
Yeah. I hate talking about Sixers history because it's also painful. But, yes, that was a confirmation for me, Tom, just like you said, that they are in that conversation again. Hopefully this year will be the one where they finish the job. Now, coming up, was there anything about Saturday's game that made you worried about the Eagles' playoff run potential? Because I know they lost, but I think I came out more confident following the loss than I was even going into that game. We'll discuss coming up next. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord in for the John Kincaid Show. We're back after this right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
On 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
It's Jen Scordo for CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. When the weather outside is frightful and your PJs are warm and delightful, then who needs a good heater, right? Wrong. Our utility bills continue to rise. Don't get stuck with an old HVAC system. One call to my friends at CNC Heating will ensure that your home will be warm and toasty even without those fuzzy PJs. Look, if you live in Buxton, Montgomery County, you can trust your home to CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Family owned and proven for 50 years. You'll see why homeowners rely on CNC for their family's comfort. And as a gift to you this holiday season, CNC is offering $500 off all new systems when you mention this ad through the end of the year. Search CNC Heating Heating to schedule your system service analysis today. That's CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Their family is here to keep your family comfortable all year long.
Sick of high finance rates? Say hello to low at A&T Subaru and get 3.9% financing on all 2023 Subarus for up to 48 months. Plus, get the A&T Advantage that includes a lifetime powertrain warranty, Pennsylvania state inspections, rewards towards Subaru purchases, service, and more.
I'm Jeff Allen, owner of A&T Subaru. Buy or lease your new Subaru now through January 3rd during the Subaru Share the Love event, and Subaru will donate $250 to the charity of your choice.
Shop atsubaru.net.
During the holiday season, the New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we must all work together to keep our transit system safe. Your attention is our most valuable asset. If you ride the train or bus, live or work near a station, be alert and aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD. New Jersey Transit urges you to help us keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
This is Staples.
So, rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one-stop shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. With over 2 million phone calls last year alone, more people in more cities across America want more Morgan & Morgan. When you hire Morgan & Morgan, you're also hiring a family business. And after 35 years, we now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world. Protecting America, fighting for you. Injured? Call Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Every driver needs a car, and this is the month to get yours. Gateway Kia connects you with the hottest new Kia models. The best selection, all ready for immediate delivery. Gateway Kia has new Kia Souls below MSRP. Or choose a Telluride, Sorento, or Forte. And find the best price on a huge selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. At Gateway Kia in Warrington, Quakertown, or online at shopgatewaykia.com. Hope to see you at Gateway Kia.
Guys, do you wish you could perform like the birds? You know, always rising to the occasion and scoring at will? If you're tired of watching the action from the sidelines, it's time to schedule a free consultation at Iron Mountain Men's Health. Hi, this is Dr. Avi Donapel. My team will create a custom program to treat your ED and low T that's safe, affordable, and effective. Fly like an eagle and schedule your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
The New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we all need to work together to keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
o'clock here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas in for John Kincaid on the John Kincaid Show. This whole week, the guys taking their Christmas break. Tom Alvord along for the ride, who's laughing at me sitting over there on the other side of the studio because I just think I set the world record for fastest time eating the second half
you just
of
put an entire
of a donut
in your mouth 2 seconds before the show segment started.
I can't leave the donut sitting here during the segment because then I'm going to be tempted to eat it during the segment.
That's fair.
I don't have a lot of great impulse control. And if you know anything about Coach Camille, and if you listen to the show, you know, he hates when people eat on the air. So what I can't have is like, oh, Connor, host the show over the holiday break while everyone's out.
And the first 3 segments in.
Yeah, exactly. I'm crushing a donut in the middle of the. So I had to eat it real quick. You need a little bit of water to wash it down. Tell you what, the water really helps. I can see why Joey Chestnut and those guys in the hot dog eating competition are dunking it in water the whole time because it just like dissolves. I don't know if hot
Is that your plan for the next donut? Just dunk it in there?
No, but I considered sometimes I like to do weird things just for the bit.
Okay.
And I considered like walking back in here because I went and got the donut, walking back in the studio with my cup of water and the donut, just like dunk it in and then just eat it, just see what your reaction would be. I don't know.
Don't like people dunk donuts in coffee.
Yeah,
Isn't that so? That would have been my first thought. But I know you.
Like, oh, is that coffee?
Yeah.
You know I don't drink coffee.
Exactly, and that's the thing. But like other people would see that and just be like, he's drinking coffee. That's fine. But nothing surprises me, so I would just kind of brush it off and just that sounds about right.
I'm kind of in that weird zone where like whatever Connor does, not.
Yeah, we've done enough shows together where I'm used to it at this point.
I owe you a thank you for the donuts, by the way. You were in here yesterday for the Sixers-Knicks game. Producing and doing everything there, helping out our buddy Tom McGinnis on the call.
Absolutely.
And you went ahead and took care of some donuts and got those brought in, right?
Yeah, brought in. If we got to work Christmas, might as well have a little treat to it. So picked up some donuts for Devon Givens and Haley Taylor, who were here. Haley run the YouTube today also, and I left them here. I was going to throw them out, but like donuts are good after a day, and I knew that you were working. That was the biggest thing. I probably would have left them anyway, but they could have been there for a week, and you probably would have eaten them. So I was like, they're going to get eaten.
Probably. I appreciate.
What's the longest they could go without you eating it?
Okay. So no visible mold or anything. If you bought donuts on a Sunday, I'm probably good till Thursday.
Okay. So Friday comes along and you're out.
No Friday donuts if they were bought on the last Sunday, and I wouldn't. After Tuesday, I wouldn't enjoy them, but I would still eat
It's
them.
more just for fuel at that point.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need something.
That's fair. Yes,
it's
you
do. It's not the most enjoyable meal ever, but it's something that gets the job done. That's why vending machine exists.
Yes, that's true.
Because sometimes you just need something real quick, and if there's a donut sitting there, who am I to not get the donut?
That's very true.
Yeah. So I appreciate you providing breakfast for I guess the next couple of days, because I don't know if anyone will take them later today. If they're
Probably
still
not.
sitting there tomorrow, I will have another donut tomorrow morning.
I kind of hope they're there until
Thursday.
Thursday.
I can guarantee you that. I will eat a donut every morning until
Should
Thursday.
I write do not touch on there?
No,
Okay.
because I don't. This is not worth restricting other people from enjoying the
To
donuts.
enjoy a stale donut, yeah.
Yeah, but if they are there, I will eat them.
Okay. That's fair.
You have
I hope
my,
no one
you
touches
have
them.
my word. So, and you're here through Thursday with me.
Yes, I am.
So you can hold me to that. We'll do the 7 o'clock donut as long as there are donuts left to have. I think there's like 5 or 6 more in the box. So yes,
Looking forward to it. Let's do
Promise,
it.
I will do that. I'm gonna regret that I said that come Thursday. If
Yes,
there
you
are
are.
donuts left. All right, let's jump back into the Eagles conversation that we were having. And I want to ask you, Tom, and I'll tell you my thoughts first, but was there anything from Saturday's game that made you worried about the Eagles' playoff run potential? And you can jump in on this on the phone lines as well, 610-632-0975. I know a lot of folks out there lucky enough to have today off. Maybe you're driving around returning some gifts. We're going to get into a little bit of our Christmases coming up because I got some interesting gifts, as I always do. My mom is a great gift giver, but she's an interesting one, so that's a conversation for another time, not to get sidetracked. But anything from Saturday's game that made you worried about the Eagles' playoff run potential? Because to me, I came out more confident following the loss. I look at the setup of the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings are a team that has a plus 5-point differential on the year. They barely win. They win a lot, but they barely win.
I don't want to get too sidetracked. They annoy the hell out of me.
Why?
They truly do, because I don't think they're nearly as good, and that's what point differential is a
Yes.
good pointer to that. But the fact that this team is up there and still competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC drives me crazy because I don't believe they're on the same, nowhere near the same level as the Philadelphia Eagles and maybe even the Dallas Cowboys right now.
I agree with you. When I look at what happened, I know it was week 2, but Eagles home opener, Monday Night Football, 24-7, just demolishing them, shutting down Justin Jefferson.
Even though they didn't score in the second half, too.
Right.
Which is just
because
crazy.
you didn't need to because Darius Slay had the game of his life.
Yep.
I look at that team and I say, okay, if they've got to come, and all of this is with the idea that these teams have to travel to Philadelphia because I do still believe that the 1 seed is near certainty for the Philadelphia Eagles despite their loss to the Dallas Cowboys. I look at Minnesota and I say Kirk Cousins, he's all right. The team, Justin Jefferson's amazing, but as a team, to me, they don't feel like a dangerous
That's Darius
team.
Slay's child, by the way, Justin Jefferson. He's completely locked up anytime he goes against Darius Slay, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it on that one, and we do have the history to show that statistically. I look at the San Francisco 49ers, and I see one man. I see Brock Purdy. And yeah, he's been pretty darn good for them.
Been good.
In what games? West Coast games, maybe some tight divisional games against like the Seahawks, wash Tom Brady, like part of a game against the Dolphins. Who'd they play this week?
Goodness.
I want to say we should know this off the top
Literally
of our
yesterday.
heads, but yeah, right.
It was Commanders.
Oh, yeah. Tough team
Blew
there.
out the Commanders 37-20.
Commanders.
Wentz got some run in that game.
Exactly, because Heineke was just got off.
Yep.
And I know the Commanders beat the Eagles one game. That's just a one-game anomaly, whatever. The Commanders are not that good. I look at Brock Purdy and I say that's not a guy that's going to come into Philadelphia and beat the Eagles in primetime in a playoff game in January at the Link. It's not going to happen. Maybe they'll play a tight game because that defense is incredible and the roster's really good. That quarterback is not coming in here and beating this team. I refuse to believe it. And that brings me to the Dallas Cowboys. Look at the scenario that the Eagles went into yesterday. You are going on the road in a game without the MVP of the league, your starting quarterback, who makes everything work offensively. Playing a team that needs this game to keep their chances of the division and 1 seed alive. You don't remotely need that game. Would it be nice to have? Sure, but you can lose that game, no problem, not lose sleep over it. I think I saw somewhere they went from a 98% chance to have the 1 seed in the NFC to a 95% chance to have the 1 seed in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, after that loss to the Dallas Cowboys. You're on the road. It's Christmas. There's been all this talk between the teams, your division rivals, all this stuff. And they're a really good team with a great defense. That's a tough situation to go in. And you hang 34 on them and lose by 6 in a game that you had 4 turnovers. Dak Prescott makes another bonehead decision. He throws a pick to a defensive lineman in his face. Like, I understand the 3rd and 30. It was a great throw. You could have easily defended that if you didn't make a stupid mistake. And I think Darius Slay insinuated after that was Josiah Scott.
Yeah, Josiah Scott's not in the game at that point. That play's not made.
And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, we all believe, will be available for the playoffs. So, hey, that play does not happen. I look at it and I say, that's how tight they play Dallas in Dallas? In what world? There you go, folks. He said the line. In what world does Dallas come in to Philadelphia and the Link in January and play Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles to that type of game and beat them? I do not see it. Listen to the stat line from Dak Prescott. 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. What did CeeDee Lamb do? 10 for 120 and 2 touchdowns. They threw the ball air raid style. Ezekiel Elliott had 16 carries for 55 yards. Tony Pollard, 9 for 19. Dak Prescott had 6 for 41. Nobody did all that much on the ground against them. You know when you have to do a lot on the ground? When you come into 10-degree Lincoln Financial Field in January with a wind chill bringing it down to 0. I don't know if the weather will be that, but it won't be what it was in Jerry World in perfect conditions besides the stupid freaking windows.
So dumb.
Who built that stadium? You put all that money in there and the sun shines in for 4 o'clock games and they always play 4 o'clock games. Okay.
And it affected the one dude dropped a touchdown pass because he had a glare in his eye.
Yes.
Crazy.
Not to get sidetracked on the stadium as well. My point is, Dallas had everything going for them that game. And they played a really good game. And they barely won. They won by 6. There's no chance to me. 0 chance. I'm willing to say it. zero chance that Dallas comes into the Link and beats the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. Frankly, San Francisco is the only team that I'm even remotely worried about, and the Eagles haven't seen them yet. Maybe it's just you're afraid of the devil you don't know, as opposed to the ones that you do know in Minnesota and Dallas, saying that you've already played them this year. But that all leads into, Tom, why I'm much more not much more confident, but more confident even that I was going into that game in Dallas, seeing how well the Eagles played them without Jalen Hurts in those circumstances.
Yeah, that's my mindset too. That's why I'm mostly positive. I think a lot of Eagles fans out there are mostly positive. When you see that you're without Jalen Hurts, the MVP of the league, Gardner Minshew, again, one of the better backups in the league, probably a top 30. I said top 40 last week, but you look around at some of the starters in the league, like Gardner Minshew might be better than Russell Wilson right now. So I'll say top 35 quarterback in the league, probably would start on some teams around the NFL. You look at obviously being without Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in that game. You lose Avonte Maddox in that game. You have 4 turnovers, and the fact that they were within and had a chance to win at the end of that game makes me feel pretty confident about this team going forward. It does. You look at the receivers in the game they had. Devontae Smith, was that his best game as an Eagle? That one catch, the toe tap on the sideline.
I think the Denver game last year was better, but this one was certainly
8 catches, 113, 2 touchdowns. I feel like we say that every other week about these receivers. Oh, was this the best game he's ever played? And then they go out 2 weeks later and have another tremendous game. You look at some of the plays that the receivers made. Devontae Smith, again, 8 catches, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 6 catches, 103 yards. Dallas Goedert, only 3 catches for 67 yards. But still, it's a 22 average. You look at it and look at what they've done, and despite everything, all of the negatives, the fumbles, the interceptions, the 3rd and 30, they were within 6 points of Dallas with a chance to win it at the end with Gardner Minshew. And if Jalen Hurts is in the game, there's a chance they probably win that game in the last minutes of the game, last seconds of the game. So, yeah, but I will answer your question when it comes to things that concern me.
Please do. That's why I asked.
Again, but I'm not trying to push the not too negative angle here.
Why are you so negative Nancy this morning?
That's it,
Did you have a rough Christmas?
Well, it's just...
Did you get coal?
I'm used to... It's the 6 a.m. I'm getting used to. That's why. I think it rolled over from waking up this morning. So my apologies. But I will answer your question, despite me being 90% positive from what I saw from the Eagles on Saturday against the Dallas Cowboys. Couple negatives because it's just things that I think could potentially haunt you going forward. 2 things. 1, can we stop giving Boston Scott carries? I like Boston Scott. This isn't to sit here and hate on Boston Scott. He's been doing really well when it comes to kickoff returns this season. He's a really good special teams player. If an injury happens, especially if he's playing against the New York Giants, he can step in and give you meaningful carries. Boston Scott had 0 carries, actually.
Yeah, right.
And the reason he had 0 carries is because there was a fumble with him in there. And again, maybe it's just they're not used to taking handoffs from Gardner Minshew, whatever it may be, even though he's the 3rd string running back. And
he should be.
Yes, exactly. But a crucial turnover that happened in a huge point of that game. And we've seen Nick Sirianni go to Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell again and again. Kenny Gainwell, I think, had his best game this season for the Eagles. I thought he had some nice catches, 4 catches, 41 yards, racked up 17 yards on the ground. So I was okay with going to Gainwell in this situation because he was having a good game. And I understand this is the way that the NFL is nowadays, where they want to keep guys fresh. They want to mix things in. Austin Eckler splitting carries with, I think, Josh Kelly in Los Angeles. Like, that's just how the NFL is nowadays. But I don't need to see Boston Scott getting meaningful carries in a playoff game going forward. I just don't need it. I don't. This is potentially your last year with Miles Sanders. He had 21 carries in this game. I know he had the fumble, and I know people are a little bit worried about him going forward, and we're going to talk to Tom in Alabama, who says he's worried about Miles Sanders. I am not. He's been really, really good 95% of the season. You mentioned it, 2 fumbles in the entire season. They just happen to come in the last 2 games that we've seen. So that he doesn't worry me a ton. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Miles Sanders, you can argue, has been a top 8 back in the league this season. I'm a huge proponent of give the ball to your best players in high leverage situations. They continue to go to Boston Scott. It drives me crazy. And you see the negative of it, where a fumble can happen. It can completely swing the momentum in a game. So that's one thing that worried me, and that's something that we actually could see going forward, because I do think Boston Scott is going to get carries going forward. The other thing, the lack of adjustments potentially waiting too long to make an adjustment. Now, this one, I don't know how realistic it was. And this isn't hate on Jonathan Gannon segment. So, John Kincaid, if you're listening, you don't have to yell at your radio right now.
You come on his show, and you're going to besmirch Jonathan Gannon?
Because Jonathan Gannon's relatively low on the totem pole when it comes to blame for this individual game, at least.
Yeah.
I think there's people above him, I will say. Avonte Maddox goes out. I believe it was the second quarter. I think he gets injured on that sack of Dak Prescott.
Early in the second quarter.
Was that what it was?
Yes.
Josiah Scott's in the game. Again, Josiah Scott, I think, has done an okay job for the most part when Avonte Maddox was out earlier in the season, but there's a drop-off there. CeeDee Lamb is the best player on their offense. I like Tony Pollard a lot. You could argue he might be the best running back in the NFC East, potentially, Tony Pollard. CeeDee Lamb is the best player on that offense. He is a top 10 receiver in football. He absolutely torched you on Saturday. 10 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he operates mostly in the slot. I understand James Bradbury and Darius Slay are outside corners, and that's where they play. But when you see Josiah Scott getting absolutely torched by their best player, there was very little adjustment. Now, they did it on 1 3rd down where they gave him a little bit of help. CeeDee Lamb tried to run a slant route, and it got shut down, which was nice. And I understand you don't maybe want to bump Josiah Scott to the outside potentially. But when I saw CeeDee Lamb running around like he's playing Madden on rookie, and Darius Slay and James Bradbury, for the most part, are not on him, that bothered me. And also, I saw a stat during the game how good Dak Prescott was against zone compared to man.
Right. That was the biggest issue for me.
Again, and this isn't hate on Jonathan Gannon, but they obviously have some kind of knowledge of that coming into the game where, hey, Dak Prescott is better against zone. And I understand that's the defense the Eagles run. There has to be some kind of adjustment there. It's got to be more man. If Dak Prescott struggles that much against man, and you're playing pretty much zone the entire first half of the game, the potential of waiting too long to adjust is something that scares me with this team, whether it be the defense and Jonathan Gannon on Saturday, whether it be the offense and Nick Sirianni against Chicago when they need to just run, and they're trying to go pass heavy in Chicago when it's 5 degrees outside. So lack of adjustments potentially in a playoff game when it's one game, do or die, win or go home. And the usage of guys like Boston Scott when I like Boston Scott, but not as much as I like Miles Sanders.
I feel you. 610-632-0975. I think all valid concerns. Let's head back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Tom in Alabama who wants to talk a little Miles Sanders. Tom, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good, man. How was your Christmas, Tom? Everything good?
You too. Yeah. Yo, Tom, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Fine. Yeah, Tom, I don't know if anybody's told you lately, brother, but you're damn good. I was listening to you on the John Kincaid show last week, brother. You're bringing nothing but heat, man. You kind of remind me of that crazy son of a bitch, Tom from Alabama down there a little bit, you know?
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. It's all in the name, right?
That's right, man. You know, that was a game sucked, first of all, for the record, and second of all, it was a sloppily played game. You're never going to win a game, give it up 40 points and turning the ball over like that. But the thing that burns my eyes the most, man, is that if Miles Sanders does not drop that ball, and Miles Sanders is human, and there's nobody that feels any worse about it, I'm sure. But, man, that game was over, man. I mean, that game was done. End of story, fade to black, man, and we're champions. And we'd be having a whole different conversation. But the thing is, like you were saying about Boston Scott, man, we need to get another running back, bottom line. That's just what I think.
Well, Tom, they're going to have to because I think Miles Sanders is gone this year. And, man, appreciate the call. Glad you enjoyed your Christmas. Yeah, Miles Sanders is going to be gone this year because he's played himself out of the Eagles.
Most likely.
Pay grade. Apparently, he was liking some tweets after the game about people saying basically can't wait for him to be out of town, which that's stupid. That's short-sighted. Not by him, by people saying that. Now, I wouldn't like the tweets either. If I was Miles Sanders, just like don't.
He's pretty active on social media, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's unfair criticism of a guy who's been great for you this year.
That's a Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowler.
He's a Pro Bowler.
Yes, exactly. But you are going to have to go get another running back this offseason because I do not believe that Miles Sanders will be here. And there are some interesting other free agents available that you're looking at. There are some. Cam Akers had a heck of a game for the Los Angeles
ruin
Rams
people's
yesterday.
or potentially one people their fantasy or get them into the
out of
playoffs
nowhere
at least.
after they cut him earlier this season. Like it's absolutely nuts the path that he's been on. But you can find running backs out there and try and figure out exactly.
They're a dime a dozen, unfortunately, for the players that play running back in the NFL.
But Sanders is top of the heap of those dime a dozen guys. I don't think Miles Sanders are a dime a dozen. I think he's replaceable, though. When I look at the running back position and what Miles Sanders has done this year, it's the Billy Bean thing, right? You can't replace Giambi, but you can recreate him in the aggregate. You can recreate Miles Sanders in the aggregate relatively easily, I think. And that's no knock on him. That's just the position that he plays in the NFL. So we'll go ahead and see how they handle all of that. It will be an interesting offseason at that position for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I know Tom was concerned about Miles Sanders and the fumbles and everything. I lean much towards where you stand, Tom. There's too many Toms. I'm going to call you Thomas. I lean towards where you stand. And that, it's a blip on the radar compared to what he's done this year. I know he had issues in the past, but like if Jalen Hurts had a game where maybe he threw 2 bad interceptions. Oh, wait, he did have one of those games. We didn't come out of the Chicago game saying, well, now I'm worried about Jalen Hurts throwing interceptions. Like even doing postgame, we didn't bring that up Monday morning before we knew the severity of the injury or knew that he was even injured at all. We didn't bring that up. We just said, it was a dumb game plan, whatever. Maybe the weather affected. Like, I'm not worried about Miles Sanders long-term for this team the rest of the way.
It's the only potential issue is if it becomes a pattern. It's been 2 straight games. If we see another fumble in one of these last 2 games, then it's a potential issue because then you have 3 fumbles in the last, 4 weeks going into the playoffs. That's a problem. But again, I think it's kind of a blip on the radar. I think he was trying to make a play. He did not protect the football well at all on that fumble against Dallas. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a top 8 back in football this year. If it happens again, it's a potential issue. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's just a blip on the radar at this point with Miles Sanders.
Yes, obviously, if he continues to fumble, then it becomes a problem. This is not, it will never become a problem, but this is he's been so good this year and so careful with the ball that I think he will be fine. And you know what I think part of it is as well, when I see the Boston Scott fumble was just mishandling of the football by Gardner Minshew and Boston Scott. I attribute that to, it's a different quarterback in a situation where Boston Scott is not used to receiving handoffs from Gardner Minshew in a game situation. I'd imagine Gardner Minshew with the scout team is handing the ball off to Trey Sermon more than he's actually handing the ball to Boston Scott because Scott is so involved in the offense at points. But that's what I attribute that to. But the Miles Sanders fumble, it seemed like he was trying to do too much. And when you're missing your MVP quarterback, that is the potential pitfall. One of the potential pitfalls of your other offensive stars. Sometimes when they feel like they need to step up hugely, you get in a situation where guys are doing just too much, trying to create a play because they know, hey, we're down a man right now. I got to do a little something extra. And at least that extra cut outside for Miles Sanders, all of a sudden, ball's on the turf, heading the other way for the Cowboys. So we'll see if it becomes an issue, but right now, not something I'm looking at as an overarching problem for the Eagles going forward.
And real quick, he's had 2 fumbles in the last 2 weeks, 2 fumble loss. He hadn't had a fumble before the last 2 weeks. Not just a fumble loss, a fumble. He didn't put the football on the ground and the Eagles recover it. So the ball security has been great 95% of this season. It just has to be tightened up and it can't happen again, obviously, going forward.
Yes, this is a Football Monday on the Fanatic, which is presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant. Whatever it takes, go to nopaybryant.com. Coming up, though, we're going to shift a little bit back to basketball. I got an issue with somebody, a big issue. Like, come on. We have a Grinch in the midst of the NBA insiders, maybe the biggest NBA insider. And he tried yesterday, Tom, to ruin Christmas for all of Philadelphia.
Is that right?
Yeah, I got an issue with Woj. We'll discuss. Coming up next, Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for the John Kincaid Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
If you don't like it, go on the internet and complain.
On 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, it's Coach, and we are down to the final 2 games of the regular season for the Birds, and a new year is upon us. So why don't we say let's start making some cash on some of the games, and we can do that by using my favorite app, the Caesars Sportsbook app. If you're a new user to the app, just download the Caesars Sportsbook app right on your phone there. Use the promo code RADIOFULL then go ahead and make that first bet. The Birds are still sitting at plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. They're tied with Kansas City now. Plus, there are super odds boosts for all the games. They got parlays, even live casino games, and a ton more on the app. And here's the great thing. If you make that first bet and you don't win, you're going to get your money back as a free bet up to $1,250. Plus, betting with Caesar is going to earn you towards some awesome rewards like dinners and tickets, shows, and a lot more. But you have to remember, use the promo code RADIOFULL. Caesar Sportsbook open to new users in New Jersey who are 21 and over. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promo for full terms. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prices plus tax, tags, and $389 fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual Dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera Dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast, reliable internet for just $49 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Or ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Call or go online today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. EcoBill and autopay required. New 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Mobile Savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers. Comcast Business Internet required.
Cleaning and repairing a building's wastewater pump system is a job, but someone has to do it. And in Philadelphia, that someone is Pumpman Philly. In fact, Pumpman Philly is #1 in everything related to your building's wastewater system, including #2s, troubleshooting, emergency repairs, maintenance, and system replacement. Trust Pumpman Philly to keep the go in your building's flow. 24/7, 365. Call 833-559-PUMP. That's 833-559-PUMP. PumpmanPhilly.com.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
And now a message from Puffs Plus Lotion Tissues. Ordinary tissues can leave you with a red nose, so choose Puffs Plus Lotion for all of your blows. Puffs have lotion to soothe sensitive skin, so you can wipe without wincing. It's a win-win. Puffs have cushiony thickness, which brings relief too, so the days of sore red noses are gone and through. When you're after soothing softness, a nose in need deserves Puffs indeed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs. But the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more. And you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
It's Rich Gannon for the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. As a former MVP quarterback, I love a solid game plan. The new Bet Parks app is everything you want in a mobile sportsbook right from your phone. Check out Pro Football Same Game Parlays or Bet Live once the game starts. And right now, all new BetParks users get up to $750 in sportsbook bonuses back if your first bet isn't a winner. Download the new BetParks app at betparks.com. Win sports, BetParks.
See website for terms and conditions. Bonus funds must be wagered once, must be 21 and over, and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
During the holiday season, the New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we must all work together to keep our transit system safe. Your attention is our most valuable asset. If you ride the train or bus, live or work near a station, be alert and aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD. New Jersey Transit urges you to help us keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
Free Coffee Tuesday for Wawa Rewards members are back. Every Tuesday, Wawa Rewards members get a free any size coffee. Gotta have a Wawa.
Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
.30 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. We are in for the John Kincaid Show. John, Bob, Pat, Coach, they're all on their well-deserved holiday vacation. Not us, though, Tom.
Nope.
We're grinding away, getting that money, making those takes, talking about all the good stuff that happened this weekend and some of the not-so-good stuff that happened this weekend. By the way, our 7 o'clock hour brought to you by the all-new BetParks app, sportsbook, and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in PA and New Jersey. Go ahead and check them out over there. It was a fun little break, though, yesterday. Got a nice day off. Got to spend it with some family. I know you were here, man. That's what did you do for Christmas? You were driving a lot, right?
Yeah, a lot of driving when my family lives in Ocean City, New Jersey. And obviously I live around Philadelphia, Mount Laurel. So drove from Mount Laurel to Ocean City to Philly like 4 times in 36 hours because you want to see people, but you also have to come to work or you get fired, that whole thing. So a lot of driving, but I got to see people, and that's all that matters.
Did you have like dinner a different spot and like presents a different spot?
We do,
and, like, bounce around?
We do Christmas Eve, hung with the girlfriend's family. Morning, hung with my family at my house, then went to an aunt's house for Christmas night to have dinner and do all that and see the main family. Yes. How about yourself?
This might be a shock to you, but I was incredibly hungover Christmas morning.
Okay, nice. Good start.
Because, the Eagles played and I didn't have to do post game, so I was like, oh, this is the first Eagles game I could actually like drink for all year.
Yep.
So I did that. Then I have a tradition wrapping presents where I'll get a 5th of whiskey on my way home.
Okay.
And I'll sit in my room and I'll wrap presents, which for me consists of putting them in bags because I can't wrap whatsoever. And this year was a particularly lazy year because I didn't get home till like 9:30, really. By the time I loaded up all the presents from my apartment here in Fishtown to get back over to South Jersey and everything.
The game got done like 7:45, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so had a little bit of whiskey, wrapped some presents, listened to some Christmas music. It was all great. And then we did presents at my house in Jersey. And then like 3 o'clock, we drove up. My brother's girlfriend's family lives in Yardley. And we drove up there to go ahead and have dinner with them, see them and everything. They've got a brand new puppy. It wasn't a Christmas puppy. They got it like a month ago, but he's still little. It's great. His name's Duncan. He's awesome. He's in that stage where he chews on everything.
Yeah.
So
a fun stage.
I just spent the whole time there basically just like hanging out with Duncan, playing with him. He got a bunch of new toys for Christmas. So that was my favorite part. I got some good stuff, got them some presents.
Santa brought what you wanted?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll discuss the specifics of gifts a little bit later because I want to have I got to bring up something that I got. Well, 2 things that I got because one thing I'm going to need some advice from you and the callers out there about, and you can chime in at 610-632-0975 on anything we're getting into today. And the other one was just there's always one gift that's like dud gift.
Yeah. No, there always is every single year.
Yeah, so
and you're thankful for getting the gift.
of course.
No,
it's not like, how dare you get me this or what are you doing?
But it's one where you're just like, I don't need this.
It was
at
more
all.
funny. It's just like,
thanks. I think
we'll get into that later. But speaking of a dud on Christmas, man, I got major beef with Mr. Woj. I don't know where you were, Tom, when you saw the notification or got the story from ESPN, from Woj, but yesterday at like 11:30, getting ready. I'm sitting down on the couch. We're finishing up presents. It's great. Got my sweats on. Got my Eagles Christmas hat on. I'm enjoying life. I'm about to watch the Sixers play. I know the Eagles lost, but they're still 13-2. I got everything I wanted for Christmas. I had a nice Cinnabon for breakfast. It was awesome. And then I look down on Twitter and I see a tweet from Woj. ESPN sources. All-star guard James Harden is seriously considering a return to the Houston Rockets in free agency this July if he decides against a new deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. And then a follow-up tweet. And this is what really, really got me pissed off. More on ESPN's NBA Countdown in a few minutes. Why are we dropping this on Christmas? Why are you ruining Christmas for Philadelphia? Why are you making our thoughts? There's a bunch of people now who just enjoyed their Christmas morning or are still enjoying their Christmas morning. We're settling in to watch a nice carefree game. Sixers, Knicks at the Garden. It's going to be awesome. The Sixers on a 7-game win streak. This team looks like they're gelling. Maxi's going to come back. They're awesome. This is a great time to be a Sixers fan right now. They've got an opportunity this year. And you drop this story about free agency coming up in July if he decides against a new deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, and then you follow it up with the, but tune in to NBA Countdown to find out. We talked earlier, Tom. Christmas Day, kind of a big deal for the NBA.
Yes.
You don't need to drop stories like this Christmas morning. Just try and get people to tune in to NBA Countdown. We're watching anyway.
No. Yes, they do. Because you're going up against 3 NFL games all day, which they never go up against. And the first game was actually a great matchup. I know that the Packers haven't been playing great this entire season, but they, I think, would still make the playoffs, which is absolutely crazy. Going against the Miami Dolphins has been pretty good this year. The NBA going against the NFL on Christmas Day for the first time in a while, at least where there's a full slate on Christmas Day, is exactly why this was dropped. And it was dropped right before the game, so you have to tune into ESPN to hear Woj talk about it, and then you're like, might as well stick around. If you're not a Sixers fan, might as well stick around and watch Sixers-Knicks. That's a good matchup. I like Joel Embiid. James Harden's really good at basketball. And then, might as well watch LeBron James and he got who they play yesterday. Obviously, I didn't tune in as much because I was watching football, and that just shows where that is. But
Lakers played the Mavericks.
That's who it was, yeah. And they got blown out. So, might as well stick around, see Luka.
Are terrible.
Exactly, and they shouldn't be on Christmas Day. But that's exactly why he dropped it, was to make sure there was many eyes on the NBA as possible yesterday. Also, he dropped it because he was given a bit of information, and there's a reason that information was given to him.
Yeah, but you think that was a text on Christmas morning? You think someone woke up in James Harden's camp or whatever, wherever the information came from, and was like, Christmas, hold off on the presents, honey. I got to text my boy Woj, drop this story. Harden's thinking about Houston again.
It wouldn't shock me if it was from the 23rd or something. He was like, I'm saving this for Christmas Day. It wouldn't shock me at all. Because that's just the industry, and it's getting views at the right time.
That's what we call deadwood. Back when I used to sell mortgages, we would have situations. We knew how it worked. There were a lot of, in the sales job, and there's a lot of incentives, of course, because they want you to produce. You get commission and everything like that. The more you sell, the better for the company.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. But what they'll do is later on in the week, you have certain numbers you're expected to hit per week. And later on in the week, they'll say, well, if you do this, you're good, you can go home. But there's also an issue with drop-off near the end of the week because, I don't know, people are answering their phones less. People are less productive on a Friday than they probably are on like a Monday or Tuesday when you're recharged after a long weekend. So we knew what they do sometimes is, hey, if you get 2 applications in on a Friday, you get to go home. So what people would do is they would talk to borrowers on Thursday. And if they had a loan, they're like, I can write this. I can get this all set up. It's like, okay, I got a little bit of a busy day going on still. I'm going to call you back tomorrow morning. Just give you the night to confirm, to think about it and everything. And you'd wake up and by 9 a.m., there'd be like 10 people on the sales floor that have like 4 applications out. You haven't even taken 4 phone calls. That's what this was.
Yeah.
And that's why I call it deadwood, because it's probably not a loan that's going to go through anyway. You're just saving it for Friday so you can go home and hit the bar for happy hour.
Interesting.
That's what this is. He got the text like earlier this week. You're absolutely right. And he was like, I'm going to save it till I can use it hugely to my advantage on Christmas Day to get people to tune in to ESPN's NBA Countdown in a few minutes. And that's annoying to me because it didn't ruin my Christmas, but it's like, come on, Woj, what are you, the Grinch? You got to go ahead and put that. You know there's going to be a bunch of people in Philadelphia. You don't need to hear that information on Christmas morning while they're trying to open presents. And he said, nope, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Screw your Christmas. This is all about me getting these clicks and these views and everything like that. And we are going to get into a little bit later in the show, so make sure you stay tuned. We're going to discuss the actual validity of it. We're going to get a little bit of a deeper dive into what the actual report is. But the timing of it, it really, really bothered me.
I can tell. Yeah. I kind of expected it. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
You expected it. You expected a Christmas morning tweet from Woj that James Harden wants to leave?
I don't know. The Sixers season was going too well. 7 wins in a row, going for 8 yesterday. They have a nice win against the Knicks. I knew there was some kind of trouble that was going to pop up eventually. But yeah, definitely didn't make my Christmas morning as fun as it could have been. That wasn't exactly the best thing to see at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. when that ended up dropping. But once I saw it drop and thought about it, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Woj knows what he's doing. He's a professional.
Listen, if he was a professional, he'd take Christmas off.
Is that what he would do? I don't think that's it at all. I don't think that's what professionals do at all.
Yes, it is. Are you saying we're not? You
I'm
weren't.
professional. You're not. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I can't have one day with my family, Tom.
Nope.
Well, to you and Woj, the professionals out there, if you're going to work on Christmas, don't ruin Christmas for an entire city by putting out stupid tweets and reports and stuff like that. Tweet it out when you get it, or save it for free agency. Got my ire up. I'm a little bit upset.
I can tell
over that, but that's okay. We've got a while before that becomes an issue. And right now, the Sixers are playing really, really good basketball. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. We'll get back to the Eagles conversation in just a second. But, Tom, the Sixers are on an absolute tear right now, despite the obvious subterfuge from the NBA and Adrian Wojnarowski. We're looking at 8 straight wins, quality comebacks against some really good opponents. And when you look around the NBA, there aren't any teams right now that are out of the Sixers league. There are better teams, but there are not any teams that I look at over the course of a 7-game series where I look at them and I say, well, it's unrealistic to think the Sixers can beat them. I had some people responding because I told you about the tweet I put out after the Clippers comeback win, that huge win, which was awesome. Kawhi Leonard had an amazing game. Dude's still a machine. Paul George is a nice player still.
When he wants to play, dude's still a machine.
Exactly. But he will want to play down the stretch. That's a team that's going to be in high competition in the West that could potentially come out of the West. The Clippers are pretty darn good, especially depending on what happens with the Steph Curry injury for Golden State. But you have that big comeback, and when I tweeted out, remember this is the moment we all realize the Philadelphia 76ers are championship contenders or will compete for a championship or whatever, however I specifically worded it. Excuse me. I got some responses saying, well, they can't hang with Boston. They don't handle Boston well. Yeah, maybe there are certain teams that they don't match up with well or haven't matched up with well in the past, but I don't look at a team like the Boston Celtics and say it's unrealistic to think the Sixers are in that conversation. I don't look at the Milwaukee Bucks and think, the Sixers are not in that league. I don't look at the top teams in the West and say the Sixers aren't in that league. Like, they are firmly back in that conversation for championship contender again. And that's a wonderful thing. It goes back to what we talked about earlier in the show about confirming our expectations that we had heading into the season. It's just another thing. Look at the landscape of the NBA. Who are the juggernaut teams? I guess you got your Boston, right? You got Milwaukee. You've got
Denver's the 1 seed.
Yeah, Denver's always a fugazi.
New Orleans, I'm not buying the New Orleans Pelicans.
They're not that good.
Memphis, I think, is good.
Memphis is nasty.
Phoenix Suns, I know people clown them because of how their season ended last year. I still think that's a talented roster. You can't even say the Warriors at this point because they're under 500. So, yeah, normally you'd say the Warriors, but they haven't been good all season. So until they get back to being the Warriors, I can't even say the Warriors right
And
now.
Look at those teams you named. Like, now, the Nets are a weird situation.
They 8 straight as well.
Yeah, they have some games where they look incredible. They have some games where they look like they're totally a sideshow, and I don't know what to make of them yet. But yes, something to be said about the 8-game win streak, and I bet you there's a hipster version of you and I up there in Brooklyn on some radio station up there saying, oh, well, Nets have won 8 straight. This is where we realize they're championship contenders too. So there could be a Bizarro Tom and Bizarro Connor up there having that conversation as well. But I look at the Sixers as a more complete team than what the Brooklyn Nets are, even if you argue Kevin Durant is the best of all the players on the floor. Kyrie Irving's still a nutcase. Ben Simmons is still a broken player. And they don't really have the depth that I think the Philadelphia 76ers bring to the equation. I just look at teams around the NBA, especially in the East, and there's no reason the Sixers aren't on these teams' level right now.
No, I don't. The Celtics are the one that worries me. They are.
Well, they should. They won the conference last year.
Exactly, and they're the 1 seed this year. The Bucks, anytime that there's a potential matchup with the Bucks, you know it's going to be a hard-fought game, but you know the Sixers are going to be in that game for the majority of it, and they actually won the last game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I believe I knew they were without Maxey and Harden, I believe. They didn't have two of their big three, and maybe even more than that, and they still found a way to win. Cavaliers, no, the Sixers can obviously compete with them. The Brooklyn Nets, they're a question mark because, yeah, they have a ton of flaws, and the depth probably isn't as good as the Philadelphia 76ers, but when it comes to pure talent on the floor, at least right now, again, they've won 8 straight games, the Brooklyn Nets, much like the Philadelphia 76ers, but I'm not going to sit here and say that the Brooklyn Nets are out of the Sixers league. So it comes down to the Boston Celtics and how they match up. And we obviously only saw the Celtics once this season. That was the opening game where the Sixers ended up losing that game by 9 points. And we do not see them again until February 8th. So we have a little bit of time to figure that out. But if the Sixers are playing basketball the way that they're playing basketball right now, where they're winning games in different ways, they can be up ahead and hold on to a lead. They can be down big and come back and be able to, take over a game completely, even though the team shoots the lights out the first half or whatever it may be. If the Sixers continue to play basketball like this and get their horses back, and one horse in particular in Tyrese Maxey, and continue to build a chemistry. No, if they continue to play like this and they can implement Maxey and there's no regression or anything like that, at least injury-wise or anything, then no, I don't think anyone is out of the league when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers and the way they're playing basketball.
610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Now, let's get it back to the Philadelphia Eagles. And, Tom, you had something else you wanted to get into on the Birds following their loss to the Cowboys this weekend on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and just a quick thing I guess I should ask. So we obviously don't know what's going to happen with Lane Johnson. It's a groin abdomen injury, according to Tim McManus. I would think minimum he probably misses this week. That's just me guessing. Of course,
I'd imagine so too, considering it's a game you don't technically need.
You keep saying that.
You don't need it.
You need to win one game.
No, you don't. You could lose out and still get the one
that's
seed.
if the Vikings lose out, but they don't lose because they win every game by 1 point. Whether it's the Texans or whether it's the Chiefs, they win every game by 1 point. You keep saying that, and
you don't technically need it.
You do need it, though.
You want it.
Your magic number is 1.
You want it.
No.
There's a difference. See, this is important around the holidays because a lot of kids feel this way about a certain toy or something that they want for a present. You do not need it. You don't need the Easy Bake Oven.
I don't need the 1
new Hot
seed
Wheels
in the
car.
NFC.
You don't need to beat the Saints. You want to beat the Saints. You need the 1 seed.
Keep kicking the can down the road. Oh, don't worry. We'll get them next time.
Anything.
We'll get them next time.
I'm not kicking anything.
No,
the Eagles they're going to beat the Saints.
And that's part of the reason I sounded negative this morning to start the show is because of you. I feel like a lot of Eagles fans have your same mindset. It's all right, guys. We'll get it whenever.
It is all right.
Don't worry about it.
You really think they're losing to New Orleans?
I don't know, dude.
I do. They are not losing to New Orleans.
The Texans took the Chiefs to overtime.
The Eagles are better than the Chiefs.
The Eagles also almost lost to the Chicago Bears and lost to the Washington Commanders. The NFL is a very week-to-week league. Anything can happen in any single game. So, yes, they probably should beat the Saints, and I think they will beat the Saints. But to say that the game does not matter is not factually accurate when you have not clinched anything yet.
Doesn't matter.
And you are rolling with a backup quarterback and a backup right tackle, most likely.
A relevant game doesn't matter. Don't even watch. Go catch Disney on ice.
Just keep kicking the can. And then next week it'll be, we don't have to worry about the Giants game. We already got this locked up. The Vikings will lose. We can just rest everybody, even though we need a win.
If it gets to the Giants game, I'm worried. But
I'm not worried, but the game means something.
You sound a little worried.
You sound not worried at all, and that's the issue here.
They're a 13-win team. They're fine.
Okay. Regardless, you're probably without Lane Johnson as a guess. this coming weekend against the New Orleans Saints. Right tackle, you have Jack Driscoll as an option. And Devon Givens, obviously, 6 to 10 every night. He brought this up to me on Christmas when we were sitting there talking about the game, and he brought it up, and I thought it was interesting. What move would you rather go to if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, if you're Nick Sirianni, if you're Jeff Stoutland? For as long as Lane Johnson is out, do you keep Jordan Mailata at left tackle and roll with Jack Driscoll at right tackle? Or do you bump Mailata to right tackle and put Andre Dillard at left tackle, who is probably a better player than Jack Driscoll right now? Again, you're moving things around,
right?
But you have two of the better players. Like Jordan Mailata is obviously an upgrade over Jack Driscoll at right tackle. Despite him not playing there, he's just a more physically gifted athlete. And I believe Andre Dillard is probably better than Jack Driscoll at this point when it comes to left tackle. We haven't seen it. That's just my guess. He'd probably be starting at left tackle in a lot of other teams around the league. But any chance they go left tackle Andre Dillard, right tackle Jordan Mailata, or are they just sticking with what works and Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Jack Driscoll at right?
They're sticking with what works. Jordan Mailata would have to not have a pulse to not play left tackle for this team the rest of the way.
What if Driscoll's getting absolutely torched?
Don't care.
Okay.
You know why?
Why is that?
Jalen Hurts is right-handed.
Jalen Hurts might not be playing.
Don't care.
Well, so is Minshew. But
Minshew's right-handed. If Jalen Hurts plays, if there's even a chance that Jalen Hurts plays, you are not making that change because you cannot have the MVP of the league with his blind side not shored up. I'd rather them have left tackle shored up with right-handed quarterbacks and be able to see the pressure coming and be able to roll the left side because you know Jordan Mailata is a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle than to put Dillard over there, who I still don't trust in big situations. Like, I think he's a good tackle.
I thought he played pretty well last season when he filled in for Jordan Mailata. He's obviously not the number one pick we thought we were getting or first-round pick we thought we were getting, but I do think there is talent there, and I think more talent than Jack Driscoll.
I agree with you, but you're creating drop-off in two spots as opposed to just a big drop-off in one. You can mitigate that.
Do you think there's a conversation, or do you think they're dead set on Jordan Mailata, your left tackle, Jack Driscoll, next man up?
Yeah, I don't think there's a conversation at all. I think it's absolutely Jordan Mailata locked in. Jack Driscoll started many times for this team, which speaks to just how often offensive linemen go down in the NFL. But, yeah, this is 100% a Driscoll or right tackle. If Lane can't go, keep the rest of the line the same. Because even though you're missing Lane Johnson, you still have 4 either Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl alternates the rest of the way on the line. So I'm not bringing in 2 non-Pro Bowl players to replace one guy. Because Jordan Mailata at right tackle, I don't know if I can consider that a Pro Bowl player. It's not his position. It's backwards. It's like writing with your left hand is how offensive line.
Just ask Andre Dillard because he literally said that after playing right tackle.
Exactly. So I'm not taking that chance.
I think it's obviously something that they wouldn't do in game. I wouldn't think, and they didn't do.
You need a week to get them squared away,
and they have that. I'm with you. I don't think it happens, but if you are 2 weeks down the road and Driscoll is just getting, and we find out, obviously, knock on wood, that maybe the Lane injury is a little bit longer than we're hoping, and Driscoll's getting absolutely torched. Again, I don't think it happens because left tackle is it is more important. Because obviously both tackle positions are extremely important. Left tackle, you're protecting the blind side, especially with the right-handed quarterback, so it is more important. I'm curious how much of a discussion they're actually having right now about it. But when it's obviously you believe it's not much of a discussion at all.
Yeah, we'll have the discussion right now. I'll be Jeff Stoutland, and you be somebody asking him if he thinks he's going to do it.
Hey Jeff, it's somebody asking.
No, I'm not going to do it.
I didn't even ask the question yet.
What was your question?
Jordan Mailata, maybe, hear me out, maybe we bump him the right tackle.
Nah. He's our left tackle.
No, nothing at
Pro
all.
Bowl caliber left tackle.
Well, hear me, we got Andre Dillard, who's a first-round pick. He could bump to the left.
We'll save him in case Mailata gets hurt. No.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Sorry for wasting your time.
Appreciate it. Your tuition's due for Stoutland University. That was, you audited a class. That will be $10,000, please. These colleges and their inflation.
Okay. That's fair. Whatever you say.
610-632-0975 is how you jump into the conversation. But no, I don't think that move's going to be made for the Philadelphia Eagles. Though there is some blame to go around. When you lose a game, regardless of whether or not you think it meant anything or how the loss happens, there's always some blame that can be assigned. I don't know if in the building they'll do it this way. We aren't in the building. We're guys on the radio. It's our job to assign blame. And it's your job, too. And you can jump in again, 610-632-0975. But on the other side, I want to figure out, who does this Eagles loss fall on the most. We know there's a bunch of contributing factors, but there are some people who did not have their best game on Saturday, and I want to try and figure out who you most attribute the loss to, even if it is just, it wasn't their worst game, but this looks like it was mostly this person's fault. We'll discuss that coming up, and we're also going to talk a little bit about our Christmas gifts that we got, and I need some advice on something, whether or not I can use a certain gift. We'll talk about all of it coming up next. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for the John Kincaid Show. We're back right after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
For someone who's super, super hot, you're really cranky.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Hey guys, it's Andrew. You know I love betting on the NFL. I'm always finding new player or game props. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with the Valley Forge is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout, which is perfect for tonight's game. We have the Chargers and we have those Colts. And of course, the Chargers, as ugly as it's been, they will continue to win because the Colts will continue to lose. No Jonathan Taylor for the rest of the year. So you got to arrive at the Chargers, and there's a couple of ways to look at it. How about an anytime touchdown score for Mike Williams? Austin Eckler, an over in his rushing yards, and an anytime touchdown for him. And of course, the over in passing yards for Justin Herbert. FanDuel is easy to use. They always have awesome odds, boosts, and specials. And when you win, you get paid fast. There's no feeling like nailing the same game parlay bet on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, just sign up with promo code Fanatic for your no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Fanatic. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues not eligible. Free bets expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Whether you're standing at a counter, parked at a desk, or sitting behind the wheel, not moving isn't good for you. It's John Kincaid for my friends at Stretch Zone. They're the pioneers in practitioner-assisted stretching. Look, my whole body, it tightens up sitting around in the studio for hours at a time, and it was affecting my home life and my golf game. So I started going to Stretch Zone. It increased my range of motion, improved my flexibility and performance, so I can swing the sticks better than ever. And whether you're an athlete, you're living an active lifestyle, or you just want to enjoy life without aches and pains, Stretch Zone can help. They've got certified staff that uses a patented strap system to position, stabilize, and isolate your muscles to help you move better, relieve stiffness and soreness, and improve your circulation. And you can try Stretch Zone when you visit StretchZone.com and book a free 30-minute stretch session. Yes, free, at one of their 10 Delaware Valley locations. They're open 7 days a week to fit your schedule, and you've got nothing to lose and plenty of flexibility to gain. Schedule it today. Your free consultation at StretchZone.com. You're going to thank me, and your body is going to thank you.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
This is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
Mm-hmm. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one-stop shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
And now a message from Puffs Plus Lotion Tissues. Ordinary tissues can leave you with a red nose, so choose Puffs Plus Lotion for all of your blows. Puffs have lotion to soothe sensitive skin so you can wipe without wincing. It's a win-win. Puffs have cushiony thickness, which brings relief too, so the days of sore red noses are gone and through. When you're after soothing softness, a nose in need deserves Puffs indeed.
97.5 The Fanatic is on a Philadelphia Flyers ticket tour presented by Coors Light. Win Flyers swag and tickets every 20 minutes, including premium seats in the Coors Light Flyers Chill Zone. Only a few more chances left. Don't miss out. Join the Fanatic at Maggie's Waterfront Cafe, 9242 North Delaware Avenue, Philadelphia, this Saturday, New Year's Eve from 2 to 3 p.m. You must be 21 to win. For details, visit the events page on 975thefanatic.com. Coors Light, fueled by Philadelphia.
The Philly sports scene is exploding with excitement right now, and the Busch Auto Group is using a winning formula of their own to crush the competition. Not only does the Busch Auto Group's market-based pricing ensure you'll never pay too much for your next pre-owned vehicle, but right now, every pre-owned vehicle purchased at the Busch Auto Group comes with a 1-year maintenance plan. How about that for a Philly special? For full details, visit BuschAutoGroup.com. That's BUSH Autogroup.com today.
The New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we all need to work together to keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
8 o'clock here, 97.5 The Fanatic. John Kincaid Show. John Kincaid, Bob Cooney, Pat Egan, Coach Eric Camille not here. You are running with Connor Thomas and Tom Alvord for the next 4 days. And we got Dan Fritz back on the board there. We got Haley running the YouTube. You can check us out on YouTube as always on 97.5 The Fanatic's YouTube channel. Got a bunch of people over there checking in. Listen, this is a fun time of year for a lot of people because this is the slack off zone. This is the do nothing zone. I was talking to a guy. So I go to, I don't know if you've heard of this bar called Garage.
That's where you live, right? That's your apartment
that's my apartment. No, it's like right down
You're
the street.
there more than your apartment from
that's not true.
The conversations I hear.
No, I probably go there like 2-3 times a week. But nothing interesting.
Your apartment 2-3 times a week?
No. But to Garage. But nothing interesting happens in my apartment. It's just me sitting there playing Call of Duty, yelling at the TV.
That's fair.
There's not that many good stories to come out of there. But I was talking to somebody. One of the bartenders there has another job in doing something with a bank. And he was like, yeah, I basically talked to my manager and was like, hey, man, if I'm not as productive this week, it's just because of the holidays. And I was like, dude, and he's a bit younger. He just started getting into like a real person job. And I was like, man, this is the time of the year where you absolutely just bail on all responsibilities. If you're working a regular desk job, mail it in. Absolutely mail it in. No one will hold it against you. In most cases, nobody will be there to hold it against you. And this is just this is why you work the regular person job. This is why you work the desk job. This is why you work in sales or finance or HR or whatever you do, to get the 2 weeks at the end of the year, the one leading up to Christmas and the one from Christmas to New Year's, to just completely bail on your responsibilities. And what's the best way to bail on your responsibilities, Tom?
What's that? Do nothing?
Go to the office, get paid, turn on the app or turn on the YouTube, watch us. Listen to a little Philly sports talk. Because guess who's not bailing it in this week? Bailing it in. Mailing it in.
There you go. You sure?
Maybe I am.
Are you sure about that?
Form sentences. Guess who's not mailing it in this week? That's right. It's us. It's us here at 97.5.
You say so.
Yeah, I do say so. What do you think? Has this been a mail-in show for you so far?
All.
We've gotten into some great stuff.
Not one bit.
So far here. We are the station for those who like to slack off at work by listening to great Philly sports talk. So keep us with you all week long. And it's going to be a really interesting week. If I was off this week, and I know this, everyone who's taking off, best show ever, guys, Anthony and Andrew, John Kincaid Show, everyone who's taking off totally deserves it. I'm sure they're enjoying time with their families, resting, relaxing, before we get into a great 2023 and get ready for this Eagles run and the finish of the Sixers season, all of this fun stuff that's coming. But if I was sitting at home this week after that Eagles game and the Sixers on an 8-game win streak and the James Harden news, that potential Lane Johnson injury, and figuring out what to do with Hurts and this, that, and the other thing, I'd be climbing the walls. Let me get on a microphone. Let me yell about the Cowboys and Eagles, or what's going on with the Saints game, or how the Eagles attack this going forward, or how good the Sixers have been. So we still have a bunch of really, really fun stuff to get into this week.
This is like ultimate don't know what day it is kind of week. Even if you are going to work, you're like, is this Monday? Is this Thursday?
I checked the schedule like 10 times yesterday. Like, am I actually in the market?
Yes.
Like, is it Monday? Because I know when Christmas is. I know New Year's is 6 days after Christmas. And other than that, I don't know what comes in between. You could tell me it's December 42nd. I'd be like, oh, cool. Do I work? Let me check the schedule.
Even like diet wise, like, listen, we'll catch up. We'll get on the right track come January, right? Just mail it in. Tune in, YouTube, app. Just let us do the work for you. How about that?
Yeah, and if you need to pretend to make a sales call or something, call 610-632-0975 and talk to us. You don't have to mix in a sports point there, but just pretend you're talking to somebody who wants to buy something.
Just an icebreaker.
Shooting the breeze about the kick. Just an icebreaker. That's perfect. Got to let you guys know, of course, the 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Martin Law, the law firm for injured workers. Visit paworkinjury.com. And yeah, if you have something going, if you're slacking off and you fall out of your chair or something, call Martin Law. They'll take good care of you and and help you out there. Now, Tom, I asked the question before we came into this segment. I asked it on the other side, but I'll ask it again here. Who does this Eagles loss fall on the most? I have a list of a couple names here of candidates that popped into my head when I look at this. Jonathan Gannon? Darius Slay? Quez Watkins? Or is there another option? Is it enough to just call it a team loss? It was a tough situation. We talked about that already. Going into Dallas, playing with your backup quarterback, playing a really good team on Christmas Eve, with something to play for them, and whether or not you agree, I'd say nothing really to play for yourself, because it didn't really affect your 1 seed potential or what you're looking at there. What do you attribute it to? And if there is someone you place the most blame on, who would it be for you, Tom Alford?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. When you look, there were people that obviously had a part in this loss. It's how the NFL is, right? It's not usually just a guy like Russell Wilson completely stinking and losing every single week for your football team. Everyone had a little bit of a part. Jonathan Gannon, again, I don't want to bash Jonathan Gannon too much, but I believe maybe adjustments could have been made a little bit quicker. And I believe that maybe not just letting Josiah Scott get completely burnt by CeeDee Lamb again and again and again, maybe, I don't know, shading Darius Slay on him or something like that. He had a little bit of a part into it. Darius Slay, I don't believe was his strongest game. Josiah Scott, again, he's a backup at this point. There's not much you can ask, especially going against a team like the Dallas Cowboys. Quez Watkins, not just one, but 2 times that you are not going for a ball as hard as you should be, as tough as you should be. Now, I could also point blame as why is Quez Watkins getting as many targets as guys like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are getting big targets over guys like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So a lot of people, injuries, obviously, but that's not really, I'm not going to put blame there. Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, both with 2 fumbles. So there's not one that sticks out more than the other than for me. To me, it's just a team loss. When you turn the ball over 4 times, when you allow a 3rd and 30, when you, just have missed opportunities in big spots, that's a team loss to me. So, yes, some people may have had more of a hand in it than others, like a Quez Watkins, like a Miles Sanders, maybe with the late fumble. It's a team loss to me. I'm not going to sit here and point out, hey, this guy is the reason that they lost this football game.
Okay, well, I am.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to point at one person as the reason they lost. You're absolutely right. It's a team loss. I will assign the most blame, though. And to me, when I look at that game, the Miles Sanders fumble was a mistake in a tough spot. He hasn't really made that mistake all year.
He hasn't, literally.
Whatever, forgiven. It sucks that it happened, but it's not something that he has the track record of doing this season. Cool. We're fine. Jonathan Gannon, defensive scheme-wise, the Cowboys are averaging like 35 points a game. They put up 40. That's just kind of what their team does. Would you have liked them to be better? Yes, but perfect conditions in Dallas in a game that they were up for, and you didn't get your best game from Darius Slay. I don't think the pass rush was as effective as they'd been in the past.
They had 6 sacks again, actually.
Did they
Believe
really?
it or not. Yeah, crazy.
That's kind of weird. It didn't feel like
sacks.
a 6-sack game. You say, you know what? There was that stretch where they had like 3 over the course of like 10 plays or something.
Yeah.
So you're right. Now that
and then after a while, I felt like Dak was just getting the ball out of his hands very quickly, and it was just all quick.
Yeah, the 3rd and 30 was not on Jonathan Gannon. That was on Josiah Scott for not getting over there, and I guess Darius Slay probably could have drifted back with T.Y. Hilton a little bit more.
I thought the same thing.
That's cover 2. You're not supposed to be back there on that guy. That's supposed to be the safety rolling to that deep corner of the field. He's got that deep path. He was the only player over there and just didn't get there in time. It's a blown coverage. That's not on Jonathan Gannon. Like, I don't think converting 3rd and 30 is ever going to be on a defensive coordinator. Like, ever. Because that's a situation where you can just call a prevent defense. 3rd and 15, maybe even 3rd and 20.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have played back so far close to the sticks. 3rd and 30 is impossible. That's got to be a blown coverage.
It was the right call. It was just a blown coverage. That's what it was.
Exactly. So I don't know if I look at Gannon. Slay wasn't great, but again, the guy who torched you, C.D. Lamb, was not the guy that Slay was matched up on for like a large majority of the game. Like, he was in the slot torching them over the middle of the field because Avonte Maddox went down, and you weren't getting great coverage from your safeties because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is not out there. But when I look at what Quez Watkins did, and this is not, oh, Quez thinks, don't throw the ball to Quez anymore, but in this specific game, both of those interceptions that Gardner Minshew threw, Quez has to fight for those more. Like, I tweeted out, get this guy in the weight room. And it's kind of not fair because I see a guy like Devontae Smith who's 97 pounds soaking wet.
Yes.
And we don't have any issue with that. But when Devontae goes up for the ball, he fights for it. He goes in, he attacks the football. Quez just seems too passive sometimes. And you really saw it this week with some big opportunities to go get the ball, specifically the second one. Like, dude, that's a 50-50 ball. That ball cannot end up in the defender's hands. Knock it down. Rip it out.
It's play defense at that point, if anything. If you know you don't have a shot at catching this ball, which he did, I believe, at least seeing it live, but at least like an interception cannot happen in that situation.
Poke him in the eye. Kick him in the back of the leg.
Okay.
Do something.
You do that.
Don't actually do that. But you have to find a way to either rip that ball away or make sure it's not intercepted. That's not even a 50-50 ball. It's probably like a 75-25 ball in favor of the wide receiver. You cannot, especially with Gardner Minshew as your quarterback, allow a defender to rip the ball out of your hands in those situations. He needs to attack the ball more, and it's something that he's had trouble with at points throughout this year, I think, but they just haven't really come in as big of spots, or Jalen Hurts has located the ball a little bit better that it hasn't led to interceptions, just incompletions.
I haven't really noticed it from him this season at all, honestly. Like
we just talked about in the Chicago game, him running a wrong route, and
I was saying like being a grown man and going for a ball more than he should have. I haven't really noticed that.
Because he doesn't really get those opportunities because he shouldn't.
And that's kind of part of the issue here, and then you could point at potentially coaching. But yeah, I think Quez Watkins in his role has been pretty good for the Philadelphia Eagles since he's been here in this season. Yeah, there was the wrong route and the interception, or that led to the interception from Jalen Hurts, or not finishing a route, whatever it was last week in Chicago. There was obviously the fumble against the Commanders, and then the game on Saturday. But for the most part, I think in his role, Quez Watkins has been pretty good. But when you have a backup quarterback who, let's face it, does not have the strongest arm, there was some ducks out there being thrown by Gardner Minshew. There were also some really good throws as well, and I think Minshew did a good job for going into that situation, being put in that situation. But you have to do everything you can to help out your quarterback in that situation, especially your backup quarterback in that situation. But I just, the fact that he was targeted 5 times, only comes away with 1 catch, and he was targeted 2 more times than Dallas Goedert. Again, I think that's a little bit of coaching. I think it's a little bit of maybe Gardner Minshew being most comfortable with Quez because he's getting the most reps with Quez, potentially being a backup, or not a backup guy, but a lower on the totem pole, on the depth chart kind of guy. But yeah, I don't want to place blame at one single person, but I think it's safe to say Quez Watkins, that was not his strongest game as an Eagle.
No, and as I think back on this season, I don't want this to turn into the Bash Quez Watkins segment. The Eagles are not where they are without Quez Watkins being a part of this team. He's an important part. I think he will continue to be an important part throughout the rest of this run. I think there are big plays still in Quez Watkins, and I think he's a quality number 3 wide receiver in the NFL. You think about the loss to Washington. What's one of the big reasons they lost that game?
Turnovers.
Huge Quez Watkins fumble.
Yes.
Trying to do too much. You look at the loss to Dallas. Quez Watkins, a couple turnovers that are not totally on him, but he could have played a part in preventing. It's just there have been moments this year, the missed route or whatever it was last week against Chicago in a tight game. He's had some big negative, impactful moments this year, and he needs to play a cleaner game.
Now, I'll say this. Much like the fumble in the Commanders game, that was something they worked on with him and worked on as a team diligently after that. And I don't believe we've had an issue with fumbles when it's come to Quez Watkins since then.
No.
When it comes to the missed route maybe last week or running the wrong route, not finishing your route, whatever it is, that's a teachable moment.
Yes.
When it comes to not high pointing a ball, whatever it may be, not coming back for a ball as hard as you can, that's a teachable moment, especially for a young receiver in Quez Watkins. And I think much like a lot that you can take away from this game, these are all fixable problems that the Eagles had against Dallas. And that's the positive that you can look at this. Like, yeah, there were some negatives. They lost a game in which they had an opportunity to win. You turn the ball over 4 times. You give up a huge play in a 3rd and 30, and you give up 40 points. Like, yeah, it wasn't all a perfect game, and we don't have anything to worry about, but it's fixable problems, and I believe that Quez Watkins, this is a fixable problem with him, and I think he's just going to get better from this. I do.
Yes, this is not the death of Quez Watkins. This is not Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor stinks. Jalen Reagor should not be.
Did you see the Minnesota Vikings? This was the
radio
comeback.
call?
Yes.
Yes.
He shouldn't be on the field.
Correct. And they're absolutely correct. He should not be on the field.
And did you see the week prior where he guaranteed victory in a win? I forget who they played. It was the loss 2 weeks ago. And he finished the game with 1 target and no catches.
It would have been against the Colts. Yeah.
Was it no, because they beat the Colts.
Oh, when they're lost to the Lions.
Was out? Yeah, it was the Lions. You're right. He guarantees victory
Jalen
as
Reagor
a 4th-string receiver
and a punt. Guaranteeing anything.
The dude just and I don't want to go too much into.
He should be glad if his contract is guaranteed. I'll go in on him. He doesn't play here anymore. He stinks.
How is it that bad? As it like it's because stuff you saw like all the time.
Here.
He didn't finish his routes here. He wasn't going 100%. If the ball wasn't being thrown to him, he didn't think it was. He wasn't going 100% on that route. How can you struggle as bad as he has and continue to do the same things? It's just I don't want to get too much into Jalen Reagor, but what were you seeing, Howie Rosen? My goodness.
Yeah. Well, at least there wasn't a generational.
But now we're seeing A.J. Brown.
At least there wasn't a generational wide receiver picked right after him.
Who's going to break this single season?
The greatest first-round wide receiver and the worst first-round wide receiver ever drafted were 1 pick apart.
You might be right.
The Eagles ended up picking the latter first. Okay, but my point is Jalen Reagor is not like Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins he's learned from things that he has done wrong in the past. He has a bona fide NFL skill set that he will continue to employ. So
lightning speed.
Yeah, so this is not like Quez Watkins stinks, get him off the field, the dude can't play. No, not saying any of that. I'm just saying he needs to learn from some of the mistakes he's made this year if he's going to start significantly helping this team, because I think he's already helped this team. But to play up to the potential that I think he has because of his skill set at the NFL level with that speed, these are some things he's going to have to correct, and we saw it in the game against them.
And by the way, I love how we're kind of quote unquote talking negatively about the Eagles receiver and the lack of choosing Justin Jefferson. By the way, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, 14 catches, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns combined.
And both over 1,000 yards for the year.
Not terrible.
To them on that. No, not bad at all. You could certainly be in a worse spot with the wide receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles. 610-632-0975. Let's go down to Dallas on the phones. Let's talk to Brian. Don't worry, guys. Not a Cowboys fan. Brian, how you doing today, man?
Hey, fellas. Hey, I'm sorry. I had to grab the phone. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
It's going great, man.
How are you?
Yeah, not too good.
Yeah, how was Christmas down in Dallas following that game, dealing with all those rats?
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Sorry,
man. It was just, and you guys, I'll be real quick. You guys touched on all the right points. It's not being negative, but I'll just jump in and say we lost that game because of lack of focus on several reasons, and I'll go down the line. I don't really blame Cannon at all, because if you think about it, we know Epps is bad, Blankenship is bad, Josiah Scott is bad. There's not much he can do with those defensive backs back.
Maybe not bad, but they're backups. They're not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay.
Well, yeah, but I think Josiah Scott had a bad game. Granted, he was covering.
Agreed.
but he had a bad game, you know. And then as a D coordinator, you got to get him some help. Now, that 3rd and 30, I'm going to be like you guys, kind of blame Slade, but not, because Slade did his job, right? But as an all-pro veteran corner, knowing you got inexperienced corners and a safety back there, I would have not jumped these routes. I would have known, like 3rd and 30, I'm going deep and tackling everything in front of me. I'm not going to veer off that route.
Yeah, Brian. But he didn't really. That's not really like jumping a route. Like your job coverage on cover 2 as an outside corner is you're not supposed to drop that deep, because if he carries that fly route, you're dealing with somebody running a corner that's going to be underneath. Someone's got a drag that now has a lot of room in front of him. Like, he did his job. I know what you're saying, but you can't really fade back like that.
We're in agreement. We're
Gotcha.
totally in agreement. But what I am saying is, you're right. You don't go that deep out. But I'm saying if it's 3rd and 30, as a veteran corner, I'm thinking more like, well, let me cover the deep route. Because if I get a drag coming across or somebody underneath that's under 30 yards, I can make that tackle.
I got you.
Versus, that's so get that real quick. And would you talk about like Quez Watkins and Miles and the teams in general? It was just lack of focus. Because what I think was, like you guys said, I think they were like, this game means something to us. It's the rhythm ride. We're going to win, but we are not really hungry for it. And I want to tell the fans, we got to stop saying we just got to win one game. Because the 3 games we got to win, including Dallas, all 3 of those teams are fighting for a playoff spot. They're not just showing up to play football. They got something to play for. So our team has got to get focused and like, yo, these guys are not coming here just laying down. They got something to fight for, and we got to understand that and be more focused in these next 2 games.
Yeah, I got you, Brian. I appreciate the call, man. Sorry you had to go through that on Christmas down there in Dallas. That's not the best Christmas in the world, watching the Eagles lose to the Cowboys the day before when you live down there. But sounds like Brian's still zoned in on the playoff run. I get what he's saying with the teams coming in here wanting to compete for playoffs. The Saints could be playing for the Super Bowl this week. Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It
does matter, dude. It's the NFL.
No.
Anything can happen. You just think that we can go out there and put all of our backups in, and it's all right. If we might win the game, we'll probably win the game against the Saints, even with all backups.
There is no might. They are beating the Saints. It doesn't matter who they play.
I think you are correct.
Okay.
I do. I
So
believe
what are we
that they
worried
win
about
this
then?
week. I worry about you just completely dusting it off and brushing it off.
I'm dusting it off because they're significantly better than the Saints.
Okay, but there's a lot of teams. The Colts or the Chiefs were significantly better than the Colts this year.
And the Eagles are better than the Chiefs.
That's not the point.
That is the point.
The Colts are better in a one-game sample size. The Chiefs are better than the Colts, and the Colts beat them in week 3, week 4, whatever it is. You see it all
this. They have 2 losses to divisional opponents who are both playoff teams right now. The Saints are not
but
good.
To say that it can't happen is not factually correct.
I'm not saying it can't. I'm saying it won't.
That's kind of the same thing.
If I walked out of the studio, I'm not saying I can't possibly get hit by a bus. You know what I'm telling you? I'm saying I won't get hit by a bus because I'm going to look both ways. Okay. It's simple. It is simple to beat the Saints. Go out there and play your game. You're the better team. Got to take care of business. I got no worries about this weekend.
I look around the NFL every single week. The Bengals are better than the Patriots, much better. They almost lost that game towards the end. The Lions are better than the Panthers. The Panthers blew out the Lions by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
the Titans are better than the Texans. The Texans beat the Titans. Like, you see it week in
The
and
Titans
week
got
out.
broken by the Eagles.
The Dolphins are better than the Packers, right? They lost yesterday.
Rodgers.
Like, it happens. I don't like we'll be fine.
We'll
beat them, and maybe we won't, and it's okay.
We will be fine.
Because something else will happen, and we'll be good. It's all hunky-dory here. We're good.
It is.
We don't have
We
to
are
ever
all
win a
good.
game
They're
ever again
13-2.
here in Philly.
What do you mean? No. We
Until
don't have
the
to worry
playoffs.
about them winning the game against the New Orleans Saints because the New Orleans Saints stink. They stink.
A lot of teams stink. The
They
Texans stink. Ask the Titans.
Their all-pro wide receiver doesn't want to play for them. Their all-pro safety plays for the Eagles because they stink. Come on. They got a tight end that should be playing quarterback. They got a quarterback that should be unemployed. They're not good.
Alan Kamara's pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right.
Defense is pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see.
just saying.
The Eagles just hung 34 on a pretty good defense with their backup quarterback. But we've got plenty of time to talk about the Saints. We're still reacting to what happened with the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday. And on the other side, Tom.
You're going to clear your throat?
Yeah, well, I'm going to continue to. For some reason, I'm like my throat maybe is because I was talking a bunch yesterday, seeing family and everything like that. But we know what the Eagles need to lock up the division in the 1 seed. I wouldn't count on them getting all that much help. So it's going to lead us further into that fun conversation we were just starting to have. How are you managing the next 2 games if Hurts isn't 100% healthy? We'll get into it. 610-632-0975. You can chime in on your thoughts, Eagles Dallas, the path the rest of the way, everything we've been getting into. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for John Kincaid and the John Kincaid Show. Back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tax tags and $3.89 doc fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep, Cheap Cherokees, or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Whether you're standing at a counter, parked at a desk, or sitting behind the wheel, not moving isn't good for you. It's John Kincaid from my friends at Stretch Zone. They're the pioneers in practitioner-assisted stretching. Look, my whole body, it tightens up sitting around in the studio for hours at a time. And it was affecting my home life and my golf game. So I started going to Stretch Zone. It increased my range of motion, improved my flexibility and performance. So I can swing the sticks better than ever. And whether you're an athlete, you're living an active lifestyle, or you just want to enjoy life without aches and pains, Stretch Zone can help. They've got certified staff that uses a patented strap system to position, stabilize, and isolate your muscles to help you move better, relieve stiffness and soreness, and improve your circulation. And you can try Stretch Zone when you visit StretchZone.com and book a free 30-minute stretch session. Yes, free, at one of their 10 Delaware Valley locations. They're open 7 days a week to fit your schedule, and you've got nothing to lose and plenty of flexibility to gain. Schedule it today. Your free consultation at StretchZone.com. You're going to thank me, and your body is going to thank you.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
I didn't think it was possible to meet someone like Susan. We just clicked after realizing we each have a strong sense of self and share the same core values in life.
After taking our advanced personality test, Daniel and Susan matched on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for 50-plus singles who know what they want. Sign up today at silversingles.com/meet. That's silversingles.com/meet.
Paid actors representing true customer testimonials. Names have been changed.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Hi, I'm Adam Flager. At Flager & Associates, we've specialized in personal injury cases for more than 30 years. A car accident or a slip and fall in icy conditions can change your life. Our clients have peace of mind knowing they have a law firm that handles every aspect of their case so they can concentrate on getting well again. We won't rest until we get top dollar for your case. Call Flager & Associates at 215-953-5200 or visit flagerlaw.com. That's FLAGERLAW.com.
Every driver needs a car, and this is the month to get yours. Gateway Kia connects you with the hottest new Kia models. The best selection, all ready for immediate delivery. Gateway Kia has new Kia Souls below MSRP. Or choose a Telluride, Sorento, or Forte. And find the best price on a huge selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. At Gateway Kia in Warrington, Quakertown, or online at shopgatewaykia.com. Hope to see you at Gateway Kia.
Amtrak is hiring. Amtrak offers competitive compensation packages and a comprehensive benefits program to meet your needs. Your future rides with Amtrak. Careers.amtrak.com.
Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
So damn proud.
8:29 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Dan's back there laughing at me from the producer studio because I had to flip the hat around. See, I don't know. When I have the hat forward, I feel like it covers part of my face. And it also, if I'm in there, if I have the hat forward, the microphone kind of hangs down in front of you. So the brim of the hat pokes the microphone when I lean in to talk into it. And that always annoys me. So I like to go backwards hat when I'm going ahead and talking. I can lean in real nice to the microphone. And even when I talk low, you can still hear me.
You're having a bad time in there.
What's up?
I said, I'll give you the hat, but it looks like you're having a bad time in there between whatever you had to fire down the donut.
No, I'm chilling, man. Everything's great. It's wonderful. Just nice.
Tough life you lived in.
No, it's not. I live a great life. My life is very easy. I go home, I microwave my lunch, I microwave my dinner, I do a podcast, I play a little Call of Duty, and I go to bed. I got a 13-2 football team that I root for.
Yes, you do.
A baseball team that went to the World Series. I got an NBA team that's on an 8-game winning streak. There's no professional hockey team in Philadelphia, so I don't have to worry about that.
Not until I get the number one pick.
And the MLS team went to the championship, too. Yeah, it's a great time to be a Philadelphia sports fan.
Could be worse.
Could certainly be worse. We have some a little bit of news. It's not exactly breaking news because it's not anything definitive. But the NFL rumor mill's already cycling following, well, not even following because we've still got a Monday night game, right? But following these Saturday, Sunday, Christmas weekend slate. And Ian Rappaport jumped on Good Morning Football this morning to talk about some quarterback situations. He was talking about Mike White's injury with the Jets. Everyone I know was bated breath with the Mike White injury. Don't care. Carson Wentz finishing out the game for the Commanders. Also don't care. But what's important and relevant to us is he talked about Jalen Hurts. And apparently, if they had beaten the Cowboys, there wasn't much thought that Jalen Hurts was going to play against the Saints. But now, it seems like we've got a possibility. I'll just say possibility is what we're looking at, that Jalen Hurts is available to play against the Saints this Sunday. And I know the initial thought that some people are going to have. Oh, of course it's a possibility. They said that last week against the Cowboys. It's just another smokescreen to try and have the Saints prepare for Jalen Hurts. No. We didn't really hear it from national media last week. We talked to Adam Schefter 2 times last week on the John Kincaid Show. We talked to him Tuesday following the news that Jalen Hurts was injured. We talked to him Wednesday for our normal time that we have that availability. And both times he was not really committal, and he even leaned towards Hurts not being available, agreeing that it kind of seemed like the Eagles were just putting it out there for the sake of putting it out there. No, this feels much more like there's a real opportunity that Jalen Hurts could play Sunday, and that makes me feel even better about the Philadelphia Eagles' chances going forward. So again, per Ian Rappaport on Good Morning Football, looking at a possibility that Jalen Hurts returns to action Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. A developing situation. We'll hear what Nick Sirianni has to say later today about it in his day after, or I guess 2 days after press availability, because we'll get to hear that since it is Monday and they played on Saturday. And keep an eye out on any breaking news that comes down over the rest of the week. Tom, your initial thoughts on what we're hearing from Mr. Rappaport on the Jalen Hurts situation?
My initial thoughts are much like you said that some people are going to say, is that, there was a possibility he plays next week, there was a possibility last week that he could play, and maybe this is just gamesmanship. The fact that this is coming out this quickly after, like, yesterday is a lost day for the Eagles. Like, no one's working on Christmas Day, especially after playing on Christmas Eve. So, like, this is technically the day after when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. The fact that it's come out this quickly, it's this quick of a turnaround where the week isn't even done yet when you have the Chargers and you have the Colts playing tonight. That makes me think that Hurts is pushing for this heavily.
That's exactly, yes,
heavily. And this makes me think that they're not listening to you and they're taking this game as seriously as possible. And they're trying to win this game despite you not wanting them to win this game. That's what it also makes me think. It also makes me think that there's probably not, if it's possible that he's playing and practicing and he's questionable to go into the game or whatever, that the chance of re-injury maybe isn't that high or further injury isn't that high, where you don't want to put him out there if he takes one bad hit. This shoulder injury can get much worse just from one bad hit. Maybe this shoulder injury is as bad as it is going to be right this second, like from the injury he suffered in the Bears game, and that's it. There's no chance of like real true re-injury or further injury. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. That's for sure. Like when you get this Monday, it's not like we're getting this Thursday after he's missed practice all week or something like that. Like this is early on. They still have, 3 more physical practices to go through this week or whatever it is. So, yeah, those are my first initial thoughts when I hear that from Ian Rappaport and see that from Ian Rappaport.
I totally think the genesis of this is Jalen Hurts going to them after that Cowboys game and saying, guys, like I feel good enough to go. Like I'm going to feel good enough to go. We need this game. We don't want to go down to the last week against the Giants. Let me play. And I know I said they don't need this game. And I will personally hold to that. But if I was in Jalen Hurts' shoes trying to convince my coach and GM and team to let me play, that's what I would be saying. I want them to win the game.
If you say so.
I do say so. I hope, I can't believe I have to state this on these airwaves, but I will state it for you, Tom, and for anyone out there like you that wants to be a bit of a stickler with what I'm saying. I want the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Saints this week. I think they will beat the Saints this week, whether Jalen Hurts plays or not. My only thing is, I don't think we need to worry about it because I think regardless of our level of worry, they're going to win this game.
And we're obviously going to talk about this a ton for the rest of today and the rest of the week going into this Saints game. Will Hurts play? How much is he going to play? How is he going to look?
Right.
Whatever. We're going to get into it a ton. When it comes down to it, though, this game, it matters. It makes your path a lot easier, and it's probably the best way to go about this is to just get this win out of the way right here. Obviously, their mindset is to win the game, but you know what I mean? Like, it makes it's the best case scenario for the Eagles to win this upcoming game against the Saints. Then you automatically, like, starters are getting rested week 18 against the Giants. I know we're going to have a conversation about rust and, is it too much time off with the bye week? Look at the past. When you have the injuries that you have and players banged up like Lane Johnson, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Hurts, all of the injuries that the Eagles have had, Avonte Maddox, obviously, they're going to take the full week off, week 18 against the Giants if they can beat the Saints. So I think that's a little bit of Jalen Hurts like, hey, let me get back in here. One game, I'll win it for us. We take 2 weeks off. I'll be good to go. Even if I get banged up a little bit more, I still have 2 weeks to recover. So obviously the best case scenario for the Eagles after this loss to Dallas is to wrap everything up, win this division, get the number 1 seed in the NFC this weekend against the New Orleans Saints. Saves you a lot less stress. Saves me and you a lot less stress. Eagles fans out there a lot less stress. Your team a lot less stress. Nick Sirianni a lot less stress.
Yes,
if you beat the Saints.
I totally agree.
Breaking news.
You would have been even less stressed if you had just beaten the Cowboys.
That's true.
My point has just been that, one, I don't think there's any way they lose to the New Orleans Saints. And two, even if they do, you're more stressed for that next game, but you still have a clear path to the top seed in the NFC and winning the NFC East. And you don't even have to win a game to do it. But, again, like you just said, I agree with entirely. Their easiest path from now going forward is just beat the Saints and then rest everybody. And if Jalen Hurts is available, well, that makes it significantly easier to do just that. And this plays in perfect. You know what I knew? I was texting with my boy Rappaport this morning.
Is that right?
Me and him. We always get together before the show. I say, what's up, Ian? How was your Christmas? How is everything going? Did you enjoy your holiday weekend?
It's nice of you.
And he told me, make sure that you schedule the what happens, how are you managing the next 2 games if Hurts is 100% healthy as opposed to if Hurts isn't 100% healthy, make sure you schedule that for 8:30 because I have this great report dropping on Good Morning Football at about 8:20, and it's just going to lead in perfectly.
Much like James Harden and Adrian Wojnarowski right before Christmas, right? Similar to that?
The opposite of that.
Okay.
That was the most annoying timing. This is actually great timing. No, I did not text Ian Rappaport about his holiday or about the segment or anything, but it works perfectly because literally we had this scheduled at 8:30 to talk about, well, what is the health level of Hurts? How does it affect how you handle things the rest of the way? So let's say, Tom, I'm putting you in the shoes of Nick Sirianni. Congratulations. You're the front runner for Coach of the Year right now. You're the coach of a 13-2 football team.
I've worked very hard.
You just got a gigantic pay raise. Congrats on your success.
Did he get a raise? I guess.
No, you just did.
Oh, I did.
From where you're.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you're making Nick Sirianni money right now, I got to call the management. I got to put in.
Yeah, you might have to talk to some people.
But you're Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts comes to you, and he's like, it's still kind of bothering me, but I want to play. And the doctors tell you, it's probably going to be like 70, 75% come Sunday when you play the New Orleans Saints. Given the situation, given everything, because I think that's about where I guesstimate him by reading tea leaves based on that Rappaport report that we just talked about. What do you do?
Going into the Dallas game, my answer was unless he is 100%, I'm not putting him out there. At this point, again, you don't have to win necessarily for you to clinch the 1 seed. I have to go in with the mindset that the Vikings are going to win out and the Cowboys are going to win out. It's all about further injury to me, like making the injury worse than it is by playing. Like, obviously, there's always a risk of injury anytime you're playing. So 75% of Jalen Hurts, I know, is better than Gardner Minshew. So if 75% of Hurts is out there, I'd rather have that than a guy like Gardner Minshew, and that's no slight to Gardner Minshew. Hurts is the MVP this season. But it all comes down to the injury possibility. As if the doctors tell me, yeah, he's 75%, he's good to go, he's going to be sore, it's going to be painful, it's not going to be comfortable, but he can't make this injury worse than it is. I guess it's technically a shoulder sprain. I don't know if they've actually come out and said it. I know there's been reports, but I don't think the Eagles have actually come out and said it. If the doctors tell me, yeah, it's a sprain, bad bruise, whatever it is, it can't get worse, but he is going to be uncomfortable, he's going to be 75%, then I'm playing him. But if there's any slim chance of actual, true, like realistic re-injury or further injury to the same injury that he has right now, then I probably have to play it safe and go with Minshew because it's all about playoffs. And obviously the 1 seed is extremely important. A Super Bowl is much more important than the 1 seed.
So you're Herb Brooks in it, where he has that scene in Miracle where he talks to the guy who's got the bruise on his leg, and he's like, he's talking to the doctor. Can he make it work? He calls him a candy ass, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Bruise on the leg is a hell of a long way from the heart. Candy ass. But he's talking to the doctor. He's like, can he play on it? Like, can he make it worse? The doctor's like, well, no, but it'll be incredibly painful. And then he starts yelling at the player to get out there and go. So you're Herb Brooks and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm going to call Jalen Hurts candy ass. That's what I'm going to do. That seems like a smart decision for me.
I would not do that if I was you or if I was anybody, because he's absolutely not. He's a tough guy, and that's why he wants to play this week. I lean towards you, though. If he's willing to go out there, and if you feel comfortable in the fact that he can't make it worse or significantly worse, you're looking at a situation where if you win, you now have 2 weeks worth of rest. You have a double bye week. You are chilling until the divisional round of the playoffs, and you play at home. You got an opportunity, so you're just sitting at home the whole time. There's no travel or anything. You got plenty of rest and rehab. Think, he had this injury. Chicago, it'll be 2 weeks from the Saints game. Yes. If he's coming off the initial injury saying he's ready to play, and that's with all this practice and stuff and trying to get him ready for the one game, if his only focus is recovery, you don't even know who you're playing yet, so there's not even game prep until the wild card round is over. I firmly believe he'd be okay for the divisional round. So, yeah, I lean towards what you're saying as well, Tom. I'm playing him against the Saints. I'm getting up by like 30 on him by half. I'm running him maybe one possession in the second half, and then I'm sitting him down for Gardner Minshew and coasting to the 1 seed. That's the ideal way for Sunday to go for me, if Jalen Hurts is ready to go. But again, hey, we saw this last week internally from the Eagles. So Hurts might play, he might be good, this, that, and the other thing. And
I feel like last week there was gamesmanship and them just trying to catch the Cowboys off guard or just have them.
This could still be gamesmanship,
but it's so early in the week. That's the thing.
Right.
Like the week's not even done yet.
And you don't need gamesmanship to beat the Saints. They stink.
I don't think you need gamesmanship on a Monday when nobody really asked about it and the Saints aren't really concerned. They're not. I believe they are practicing today. I believe regardless. But like for this to come out before practice, before he even speaks, that doesn't really necessarily speak gamesmanship to me. That speaks, wow, this dude has a legit chance to play.
I lean your way as well. By the way, Football Monday on the Fanatic presented by Pierce Phelps. Whatever it takes, go to nopaybryant.com, 610-632-0975. How would you handle Hurts and the potential of him playing Sunday against the New Orleans Saints? You can jump in on that. Let's head back to the phone lines and talk to Ali in Southwest Philly. Ali, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
First of all, I want to say Merry Christmas, and I want to send mad love out to Philadelphia.
Thanks, man. And, Merry Christmas to you too.
Man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Gardner Minshew, man, regardless of his, smooth TikTok videos, did a pretty good job. Bird Gang, guys, by the way, I am the inventor of the new Bird Gang chant. Bird Gang, get another hit. Make them cowgirls stop talking S. You know what I'm talking about?
I got you. I appreciate the censorship on that last one, too. I got you, Ali.
Yeah. I think everybody was doing good. Dante Smith was amazing. Of course, A.J. Brown, man, he needs his roommate. Come on now.
They got that chemistry.
We do need Jalen, and I understand you on the quest Watkins turnover. I get it. You know what I mean? But it's just like you said, Slade did do his job. It's just we need to get pumped up, man. We need to get this Eagles. We need the blood back in our system. It was a weird Phillies season. Imagine with the Phillies, and all of a sudden the Eagles are undefeated, and then all of a sudden the Phillies make it to the World Series. It didn't even feel right. It was like this weird vibe in Philly where we weren't used to winning. We need that blood back. We need that green back. You understand what I'm saying, guys?
I totally get you, Ali. I love the juice you're bringing, man.
We need to bring that Eagles vibe. We need to let these people know that we are Philadelphia. You understand what I'm trying to say to you?
Yeah, and I think they will, Ali. And, man, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the Merry Christmas wishes. I hope you enjoyed yours. You wish Merry Christmas to all of Philadelphia. That was very kind of him.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Jeff Garcia of him to go ahead and do that. So
how about that?
Appreciate Ali checking in. It's funny. So he was talking about the juice and needing all of that back and needing the vibes to be right for the Philadelphia Eagles. Talking about the fan base, I'd imagine. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles schedule, Tom. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they were on the road this week.
They were.
And they were on the road the week before in Chicago.
They were.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, as I look at the schedule and sheet, they were on the road, not that far, but they were up in North Jersey in the Meadowlands the week before.
That's 3 straight road games in the NFL. Doesn't happen often.
It really does not. And they went 2-1 on that road game stretch, with the only loss coming on the road on Christmas Eve in Dallas with a backup quarterback. I know what Ali was kind of getting at with the juice and everything. He just wants to see the fans fired up. But it brought me mentally to an interesting point. You got a chance to clinch the 1 seed at home. This crowd is going to be wild.
Yes,
You've got basically a month's worth of no football at the Link. For a team that's this good, there have been a lot of people dying to get out there and see this team. And guess what? These players have been dying to play another game at the Link. They haven't played a game at the Link since they hung 35 on the Tennessee Titans. Think about that. The last 2 home games.
Feels like ages ago.
The last 2 home games, 75 points for the Eagles in those 2 contests.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And that's against the Packers and the Titans, who are 2 teams that are on the fringe of playoffs, both of them.
And better than the New Orleans Saints on paper. At the time, at least, the Titans are not doing well right now, but still.
They're rock, paper, or scissors. I don't care what surface you're playing on. They are better than the New Orleans Saints, all of those teams. You like that one? You
Kind of, yeah. As long as it's not turf.
It is not turf. Thank God. The Link actually cares, and the Eagles actually care about the safety of players. That's another conversation. But the point of the Philadelphia Eagles being back at home this week after a near-month absence from playing at the Link, that factors in as well. All of this makes me uber confident that the Philadelphia Eagles are still going to clinch the 1 seed and the NFC East by beating the Saints this weekend, with or without Jalen Hurts. But now you do have that decision to make about what you would do with Jalen Hurts the rest of the way. Let's go back to the phones and talk to Shai in Camden. Wants to decide what he would do about Hurts playing against the Saints. Shai, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Happy holidays to y'all.
Thanks, man. Same to you. We're all good. What's up, man?
Hey, honestly, I feel the same way. I just feel like they should just sit him out. I mean, I feel like we can beat New Orleans with Minshew. I mean, he put up, over 30-plus points?
34, yep. Well, 27 technically because the defense had the pick six, but yes.
Right. Oh, yeah, with Josh. That's right. But, yeah, they can. I feel as though that he can still put up the points. Defense just got to play a little better. But I don't think nobody on New Orleans is – I don't think their team is that good to where I'm going to risk, definitely the best quarterback in the league right now.
Let me ask you. You'll get your full time. I just want to put you through the scenario, though. So you're the coach of the team, and Jalen Hurts, the MVP of the league, comes to you and says, hey, man, I'm fully healthy. I'm good to go. The doctors have cleared me. I took that week. I feel great. I know we don't technically need me to win this game because we don't think the Saints are that good, but I want to play. How do you look that guy in the eye and say, no, we're going to sit you down when you haven't clinched the 1 seed or the NFC East yet?
When you put it like that, if you feel as though he could go out there and play, I'm all for the guys. I'm all for starters playing. If he could go in there and play 2 quarters, put points on the board, and the defense can hold, I would play him for 2 quarters and then sit him.
But you don't want to take if he's not 100% healthy, you don't want to take the chance.
I don't want to take the chance if he's not 100%. But if he's 100%, the doctors are clearing him and saying he can play, I'm all for it because I feel as though as much as they're out in the field playing, they're going to, still be in sync. Because I feel as though in order to play well the team, you just got to be in sync with each other. And they definitely are, especially with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. To me, he's like Patrick Mahomes. Everybody eats when it comes to Jalen Hurts. So I know they need him back out there so everybody can get that ball.
Yeah, I got you, Shai, and I appreciate the call. I totally get what Shai's saying there with the, hey, if you don't need him and there's a chance of re-injury or something, there's no reason to risk it. And that plays into the camp that I've sort of got one foot in, that the Saints game still doesn't technically matter, but it changes everything if Hurts is cleared to play. Even if he's not 100%. If you're like, okay.
Which he's probably not going to be 100% at this point.
No
one is in this part of the season, especially with an injury to a shoulder just a week ago.
But you saw what he did immediately post-injury to the shoulder.
That throw was ridiculous.
He was like 6 for 9 with a touchdown, 100+
with a
yards.
robot arm. That throw to A.J. Brown was ridiculous, let alone a banged-up shoulder.
Right. So he can play through it. I don't think we've ever had any doubt that he could play through it. It would be painful. You might be risking re-injury. But the skill level of Jalen Hurts, I don't think we're going to see him come out and have trouble throwing the ball. Just how much do you want to risk?
And this guy on Twitter that popped up, John Kincaid, I think is how you say it.
I've heard of him.
Seeing the opening Eagles line at -6.5 on Bet Parks, in my mind, and this is John's mind, certainly leans towards Hurts returning.
I don't agree.
No?
No, I don't agree.
What's that?
Because I think with Gardner Minshew, the Eagles are
they'd be favorited that much.
A touchdown better than the Saints. I think
at home.
I think with me out there, they might be only giving 1 point. Yeah, getting 1 point. It'll be a pick 'em if I was playing quarterback. With Gardner Minshew, yeah, they're still 7-point favorites over the Saints. That
you're probably
stinks,
right,
dude. Where else would you put that line?
I know.
Put
that's
Gardner
what I'm trying
Minshew
to
out
think.
there. Would you expect? Because you're getting 3 points already. It would be given, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
3 points already are attributed for by being the home team. So
if that's the case, then is Jalen Hurts only 3.5 points better, than the New Orleans Saints because you're getting that 3 points at home?
That's my point.
Or would it be more?
That's my point. I would expect the line to, especially if Hurts ends up playing, I would expect that line to bump to maybe 8.5.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I understand what John's saying, that's a big line. But I think Gardner Minshew, by putting up 34 on that Dallas defense, and by the Saints just not being good, I don't think Vegas knows yet. I think that's the set line with Minshew either way, and I think we could see that balloon if Hurts is cleared completely.
That probably gets the double digits if Hurts is confirmed to play, I would think.
I don't know because of the injury.
Okay.
Because you don't you see the injury and you see a week off. Could be a little bit of an issue. And then you might be missing Lane Johnson. How much does that factor in? Might be missing Avonte Maddox. How much does that factor in? So until the injury situation gets fully sorted out, I don't think the line is accounting for that yet. But I understand what John is saying when he looks at that line and says that leans toward Hurts playing. To me, all that says is either way, you're fine.
The Eagles are better than the Saints.
Which is what I've been trying to tell you all morning.
Yeah, so might as well not even play. They should call up Ian Book.
I never said that.
Ian Book will start for us instead of Minshew because the game doesn't matter.
We did get a comment on the YouTube. I want to see who said it. Stanley Krapinski said, I would play Minshew or Ian Book. Ian Book, of course. I mean, Ian Book played for the Saints back when the Eagles played them, last year?
Yeah, last year, I think.
Yeah.
Because he was a rookie last season, I believe.
And was terrible. So I'd rather not see Ian Book anywhere near the football field. But, yeah, I think the Philadelphia Eagles will be fine either way. 610-632-0975. On the other side, we're going to continue this conversation about Jalen Hurts. Got a couple people who want to check in on the phone lines, and you can jump in too. Again, 610-632-0975 is how you get in. How do you handle Jalen Hurts heading into this game against the New Orleans Saints, depending on his health, depending on how much you value this win, depending on how much you even consider the Saints as a contending team with a team like the Philadelphia Eagles? Because for me, it's not all that much. Well, we got plenty more to discuss as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for John Kincaid and the John Kincaid Show. We're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, Sixer fans, it's Matt Cord for the BetParx app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. The BetParx app is fun to use, built around on what you want right from your phone. It's easy to sign up, great customer service, and faster to win than ever before. Download the BetParx app today. The BetParx app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers.
See website for terms and conditions. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parx Casino, this is how you win. Looking for a perfect night out? Look no further than Parx Casino. Enjoy live music and entertainment at 360 inside Parx Casino. Friday, December 30th, the exceptions keep you dancing all night long. Parx Casino is your place for live entertainment, award-winning restaurants, and never-ending action. Go to parxcasino.com or follow on social for a full list of world-class entertainment. Coming soon to the Excite Center at Parx Casino. Parx Casino, this is how you win.
Gambler problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. $80 billion approved for the IRS to beef up their efforts to pursue those that owe. Are you tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, you need Anthem Tax Services. 30-plus years of experienced, top-rated tax professionals with over $500 million in represented tax liabilities and licensed in all 50 states. We are A-plus rated on the BBB and #1 choice on Money.com. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle your tax. Anthem Tax Services will find the program that is right for you, like the Fresh Start initiative that can drastically reduce your tax debt. We can help settle delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce back taxes by up to 99%. Call Anthem Tax Services at 800-217-5312 for a free no-obligation tax analysis, personal or business. Stop your tax problems from getting worse. Call Anthem Tax today, 800-217-5312, 800-217-5312, or anthemtaxservices.com.
If you want it for less, you've got to see Jeff. #1, Jeff D'Ambrosio in Destination Downingtown. During Jeff D'Ambrosio's Out with the Old, In with the New sales event. Find out why Jeff is #1 with the best deals on hundreds of Jeeps and Ram trucks with 0 down or payments as low as $149 a month. Jeff beats his competitors' prices every day. And during the Out with the Old, In with the New sales event, you can save up to $10,000 on in-stock Jeeps and up to $13,000 off Ram trucks. And remember, credit problems are no problem at Jeff D'Ambrosio. Their credit specialists will work hard to get you approved. Jeff and his team wish you a happy and healthy new year and thank all their customers for an incredible 2022. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Visit GoJeffAuto.com. GoJeffAuto.com. $149 per month for 72 months at $699%. Tax and tax additional. 2012 Ford F-150, 2009 and Jeep Grand Cherokee sale price $87.50. Up to $13,000 off select Ram trucks. Must qualify. See dealer for details.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
You've been putting back a few. And a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, You lose your license. You total your car. You kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
Mm-hmm. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
Guys, do you wish you could perform like the birds? You know, always rising to the occasion and scoring at will? If you're tired of watching the action from the sidelines, it's time to schedule a free consultation at Iron Mountain Men's Health. Hi, this is Dr. Avidan Appel. My team will create a custom program to treat your ED and low T that's safe, affordable, and effective. Fly like an eagle and schedule your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
The Philly sports scene is exploding with excitement right now, and the Busch Auto Group is using a winning formula of their own to crush the competition. Not only does the Busch Auto Group's market-based pricing ensure you'll never pay too much for your next pre-owned vehicle, but right now, every pre-owned vehicle purchased at the Busch Auto Group comes with a 1-year maintenance plan. How about that for a Philly special? For full details, visit bushautogroup.com. That's BUSH autogroup.com today.
Are you ready? At Lowe's, it pays to be a pro. Now through January 6th, Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards members earn 1 bonus point for every $1 spent on qualifying purchases with a Lowe's Business Credit Account. Redeem bonus points for cool rewards for your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Subject to credit approval, Lowe's terms and exclusions. See Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points and Lowe's.com/L/Pro loyalty terms for details. U.S. only.
The New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we all need to work together to keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
O'clock hour, the John Kincaid Show. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord in for the John Kincaid Show this week for the holiday week. I want to let you know, of course, the 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by the Bagster Dumpster in a Bag. Get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. Love the Bagster. Absolutely love it. I want to throw the entire Cowboys team in the Bagster.
Throw Woj in the back.
Throw Woj. Woj does need to go in the Bagster. Trying to ruin our Christmas. Stupid Harden report. We're going to get more into that in a little bit. Speaking of the Bagster, I feel like every year you end up with, maybe it's only one present. Maybe it's a couple presents. And I don't want this to sound ungrateful. You're always like, even if you get a present you don't like, I think you can appreciate the thought behind it and the effort that went in for someone to give it to you. But frankly, there are just some times where someone gets you a present that you don't need, you didn't want, you're never going to use. And it's like, oh, kind of dealing with it. And every year there's always one dud gift that my mom gets. She does a great job Christmas shopping and everything. Does a wonderful job with presents. She's a very thoughtful gift giver. Love my mom. There's always one, though, where it's just like,
nobody's perfect. Nobody bats 1,000.
No, exactly. No, never. And this year, it was kind of on me. Kind of.
Okay.
But so I need a couple new pairs of pants because, not to get too personal, but my legs have gotten bigger because I've been working out more consistently.
Eating more. Yeah, definitely.
Not like fat bigger, like muscular.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like Saquon Barkley, tree trunk.
Is that right?
No, not exactly. But at the same time, also, I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to put on weight. Like, I'm 28 now. I'm pushing 30. This is a time where your metabolism starts to slow down and you just you have to work out more to not get fat. So I'm at that point. I think I've gone up like one waist size or whatever. Like nothing even crazy. And I could still wear
that's normal.
The old pants, but you know how I get ripped around here for tight pants. And frankly, some pairs of my pants have gotten too tight. So I needed a couple new pairs. So I put it on my list for Christmas. I told my mom and my brother that'd be good.
I respect you for actually having that realization and not continuing to wear the too tight pants.
Oh, I'm going to continue to wear the too tight pants.
Well, like too tight pants.
But I just need to mix in some non-too tight pants.
Gotcha.
You gotta have a little bit. Like some stuff for like golf pants so they don't rip or whatever. Can't go ripping your pants. But I didn't know what the best size were. And different brands, different sizes fit weird, right? Like
yes, correct.
32 doesn't fit the same for every pair of jeans or every pair of pants. So I put like a general estimate of what my size is, and I was like, I'll let you know exactly what some of the pants that I have that fit well, what size they are. I just never did. A lot of stuff got busy, and I never let them know. So my mom got me this pair of pants that are like 36, 34. And I opened them up, and they were fine. They were just like regular, like, kind of athletic type pants. They weren't like suit pants or whatever, but and I hold them out, and it looked like, you remember that weird, we know he's a weirdo now, but you remember that weirdo Jared that used to do the Subway commercials?
Yes, correct.
Before all the stuff happened with him. I looked like him holding his before
like the
pants.
after picture.
Yeah, like the before. Like I looked like the after in a weight loss commercial. It's like, this
thanks, Mom.
Probably isn't gonna work here, Mom. But in fairness, I didn't update the exact size I needed. So that's probably
it's more on you.
I
That's
share
more on
some blame on that one. The good news is my brother's taller than me. He's not wider than me. He's actually in good shape or similar build, but they can kind of fit him. So I gave them to him to try. So we'll see if those work out for him.
So, and that's the real question I have, because we all get the dud gifts, as you mentioned. It happens every single year. We're all thankful for the gifts, obviously, but there's always one or two that you're just like, I don't need this. I'm not going to use this. This isn't the right size. Are you, this doesn't have to be to your mom, this could just be with a gift in general. Are you return it, ask for receipt, return it, or are you just, I'm going to put this to the side, never wear it, and forget about it, and probably throw it out or give it away later?
I'm a lie, smile through it, just, it's perfect, and then it goes in the closet, and I never see it again.
That's how I am, too.
That's because you can't say anything. And you know what? It was bad. So I got a gift that was a cookbook for crock pot and air fryer.
That's a good gift.
It is a good gift.
Because you don't cook.
If you have a crock pot or an air fryer.
You don't have
of which I have neither. And I got it. And I was sitting there, and it was one of like the first gifts I opened. And I was like, oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'll use it. No, this is great because I can look at these ingredients and figure out
I can imagine
something.
my air fryer here.
And the whole time I'm just sitting there like, I don't have either of these things. What are we doing? And then like the last gift I opened was a crock pot. So thank God.
That makes more sense.
Thank God I didn't like.
So bad
what
gift
are you doing?
order.
Well, it's not even that, but I'm glad I played it the way I did because I was like, I don't have any of these. I can't use this and seem ungrateful and everything, and then get the crock pot later and kind of step in it. But so those are the two almost, and I've got one more that I need an opinion on. I got to find a picture of this. I didn't take a picture of the actual one, but I'll show it to you, Tom, and I'll show it to the YouTube. It's not great radio, but I'll describe it. So I needed a new wallet, and my mom went ahead and got me a new wallet it's an Eagles wallet, which I love the birds. But it has this big, I guess, not like crocheted, but stitchwork Eagles logo on it. That's like taking up the entirety of the wallet. It feels like a little much to just have
a bit juvenile, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be a grown man to just like walk in. Like if I was to take a girl out on a date to a nice dinner, imagine we sit down at a nice Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, we can split it." And I'm, no, I got it all. Don't worry, I got the money. I pull out the Eagle stitched wallet.
Yeah, it's I think.
Am I right to be like slightly embarrassed by the potential of doing
a little
that?
bit, yeah.
So then how do I handle that? Because she got me this new wallet. Like, do I just, oh, sorry, wallet disappeared.
Do
I use it as a decoy wallet?
You keep it in your car.
Ooh.
And like in the glove box.
Yeah.
So that way, if like you're ever going out to lunch with your mom or something like that, you know it's there. You'll
So-
probably forget it's there and not use it, but
Right.
still, it's there.
I think that's the plan, is use it as a decoy wallet. So like when I'm with my mom, I'll use it for some stuff and keep like an extra gift card or something in there, keep a little bit of cash in there. And then the rest of the time use the regular adult wallet. I feel bad because like I'm a huge Eagles fan. I'm sure there's people out there that have Eagles embroidered stuff and everything like that, but it felt like a little,
especially being single as you are. Like me, I can wear and do whatever I want now.
Right.
She's locked in. She's not going anywhere.
Basically a homeless man.
Yeah,
you don't have to,
exactly.
You don't have to keep up any
We're
appearances
good.
or anything.
I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, if you're going out on dates looking for new girls and stuff like that,
check out the Eagles wallet, baby.
Yeah.
Stacked to the brim with singles.
It's a great thought. Anything Eagles is a good thought, but yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. How about you? Any dud gifts this year?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, because we're at this point where it's just like, tell me what you want. And
Give
I'll
me
buy it
socks.
for you.
Give me a shirt.
Yeah, because
Give
even
me a
like
crock
when you're a
pot.
kid, socks is a dud gift. But like as an adult, I need socks. Socks are extremely important.
I got like 3 sets of socks, and it was awesome. That was
and
my
you,
most excited
you
I
wear
was.
your odd socks and stuff like that. So
Like
that
socks.
makes it's not wrong. But like like when you're a kid, you see underwear and you just throw it behind you, like that scene in A Christmas Story where they get socks. But it's like, no, I could use that as an adult. So no big dud gifts this year.
That's good.
It's my knowledge. My mom might be listening too, so that's why I say that.
Oh, okay. Protecting yourself. I imagine my mom's not listening, but if she is, sorry, Mom. I'm definitely using that Eagles wallet. And disregard, this is all just a bit for radio.
Yes.
Don't tell her, guys. But it is nice. The Crock-Pot's going to be fun put to use. I'm Connie Crock-Pot now. I've got to start using it.
Connie Crock-Pot.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to start cooking stuff. I'm getting away from the microwave. I'm turning over a new leaf.
You're definitely not, though.
No, 100%.
Yeah, like I was going to say, you're not going to cook.
Maybe. I might. I've got the crock pot now. She got me the crock pot. I got to use it.
And it's actually perfect for, and we're going a little bit off on a tangent here. It's perfect for your situation where you get home most days at 10:30.
And just put it on, and
Exactly.
dinner will be ready.
So you put chicken in there. All you have to do is just put seasoning and sauce, whatever, and press on, and it sits there for 5 hours.
That's what I've been told.
So it needs
it's awesome.
It needs 5 minutes of prep, but you're probably not going to do it.
This is also the line of demarcation of I'm officially old. When you get a crock pot for Christmas,
you're old.
Hang it up. It's over. You're on the back nine.
I'm
there.
talking about like housing markets to my cousin at Christmas. It's we're getting old, man.
God, let's go back to our fake life where we talk about sports on the radio. Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to play against the New Orleans Saints this weekend. We're hearing from Ian Rappaport on Good Morning Football today that there's a possibility that that's going to happen. We don't know how real the possibility is. We're going to hear from Nick Sirianni multiple times this week. We'll hear from the coordinators. We may hear from Jalen Hurts himself. Who knows what we're going to hear this week from those guys when they do talk. But the early reports are it sounds like there's a real chance that Jalen Hurts is available for the Eagles Sunday against New Orleans. And that shifts the conversation to, well, how do you handle it? I'm sure there are people out there that would say, even if he's 100% healthy, and we already took a call kind of like that from Shai, who said, and I kind of broke it down a little bit more, and he went back on the point a little bit, like he budged a little bit on the point. But he initially started by saying, hey, just start Minshew either way because we don't need Hurts to win this game. We want to make sure he's good. So there are people who say if he's 100% healthy, still don't play. We both kind of sat with if he's like 70, 75% and there's not a chance of major re-injury, go ahead and put him out there. There might be people that say, hey, I don't care what the doctors have to say. I trust Jalen Hurts, and if my MVP is telling me I'm good, we need this game. Let's go win it. So a lot of different camps to be in on that one. It's an interesting conversation and one that will be had over the next 4 or 5 days as we head towards Eagles Saints at the link about how you handle it. There's a lot of implications from this one decision. Jalen Hurts' health, your ability to lock up the top seed and the division, their potential for a playoff run, like all of this stuff is hinging on what is a very precarious spot to be in with a slightly hurt franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, when it comes down to it, and as I said before, which I am in the camp with you where it's like as long as the doctors clear him, there's no chance of major re-injury or further injury. This is the NFL. Guys play hurt all the time, and you're going to need to go out there and win a football game when you need to win a football game, despite you not having to win a football game to clinch the number 1 seed. Still, they want to take care of business themselves and give them and have less stress going into Week 18 against the Giants, where they can just rest guys. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a huge talking point. It's a huge thing we're going to be touching on pretty much the entire week as we see practices go along. How much is he practicing? Is it a limited practice? What's going on with the first team reps? All of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think now that this is getting leaked out this early, people's mindsets are going to be more oh, Jalen Hurts is playing this week. If it's Monday, not only, it broke at 8 a.m., so they haven't had practice yet or anything. No one has spoke. For it to leak out that quickly, people's mindsets going forward for this week, I would think a majority at least is, oh, yeah, if it's Monday and he's almost maybe to play, possibly play, by Sunday he's going to be playing that football game.
I got you. I totally agree, and that's kind of where we stand. Sorry, I just had a heart attack.
You seem fine.
I just got a text from my mom.
She's listening.
She's not listening.
Okay.
It just happened to be that time of the text. I saw new text from my mom, and I was like, oh, God, this is going to be
you're bashing on
You
her.
don't like my wallet?
Yeah.
Give it back and all your other gifts and all this. I thought it was going to be the, hey, I'm listening, honey, and you could have just told me if you don't like the wallet. But no, it wasn't. It was just the regular good morning text. Confirmed my mom's not listening. So far, so good. The decoy wallet plan is still on. 610-632-0975 is how you jump on today. Let's go to KB in New Jersey on the phone lines next. KB, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Great show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Doing well. How was your Christmas, KB?
Worked, but got together with family, and that's more important than any present I could unwrap.
You're absolutely right, man. What do you got on the birds?
I got a couple things. I noticed the other day watching Carolina against the Saints, they rushed for 347 yards, set a Carolina Panther record. If Carolina can run for 347, how many do you think the Eagles can run on Carolina? Or the Saints, excuse me.
Oof, man. I mean, they should be in the 250 to 300 range, especially if Jalen Hurts is healthy. You can bump that up another 50 to 75 yards.
And so all Hurts got to do is get in the game, hand off, throw a couple passes, not run the ball a little bit. Get it, like you said, a 30-0 lead at halftime and bring in Minshew. Wrap up the number one seed. All the guys that are pre-gaming for the Mummers Parade are going to be bananas, and it's going to be a great weekend in Philadelphia.
It really will. Listen, it's a perfect time to lock it up. You got New Year's going on, another type of celebration weekend, and you can have a whole 2 weeks worth of celebrating after that, right, KB? Because you'll be resting guys, and you'll be sitting out the wild card round. So,
exactly. And I hate to look ahead to April, but right now I think they're New Orleans Saints pick 10. If we can knock them down to like 6, 7 and get that pick and let Howie do his magic, it'll be a great weekend.
It certainly will. KB, man, appreciate the call. Glad you got to spend some time with your family for Christmas.
Saints are 10th pick right now going into Monday Night Football.
Is it weird that I don't remotely care about the draft pick?
Yes.
I don't remotely care.
You don't want a top 5 player, top 10 player in the draft?
It'll work out where it is. If it's 15, whatever. If it's 10, whatever. If it's 5, whatever. I mean, I want it to be better, obviously, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on Lombardi. I'm focused on Super Bowl.
Sure.
Buddy, I don't care where they pick if they get a ring. They could pick a billionth. They could not have a draft pick. If you said...
Technically, they can't pick a billionth because there's only like 250 spots.
That's a fair point. But if you told me right now, the Eagles don't have any draft picks next year, but they win the Super Bowl, I'm taking that deal. I know it's short-sighted, but I'm taking that damn deal.
I mean, definitely. That's pretty much what the Rams did last year, where they traded away all their picks.
You think the Rams are upset about it? Their fans aren't loving this year. No, I don't think they are.
No,
they've got a ring.
Yes, correct.
Listen, rings are all...
Sell your soul for a ring pretty much at that point.
Now, it goes quickly. The Eagles won 5 years ago. It feels like an eternity since the Eagles hoisted that Lombardi in 2018. But, yeah, I'd give up all of those picks, so why would I be focused on the pick? Just like,
well, because you don't have to give up the picks, and if you win this game, it drops it down that much more.
My mind just can't be on that right now. I cannot mentally put myself in the space of draft pick.
More there were people out there calling the Saints game more important than the Cowboys game.
I heard those people.
And
yes.
do you agree with that, or do you not even?
I don't think.
Are you 1 week at a time kind of thing?
Yeah.
I do care about it, and if there is, and I didn't have that mindset at all where it was, who cares about the Cowboys game, rest guys, and then go into the Saints game and win, which I don't think is a smart route. I don't agree with that. But the draft pick matters a ton. I mean, we saw what happened the year, I believe it was the Devontae Smith year, where they pretty much forfeited the last game against the Giants. And
No. They played as hard as they could in that game, Tom.
Nate Sudfeld, man,
did his absolute best,
throwing dimes out there. We saw what happened in the good fortune that led for the Philadelphia Eagles, where they end up jumping up a couple spots where they have a little bit more wiggle room, and Howie Roseman is able to work his magic where he ends up trading back and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, obviously my mindset is 1 seed NFC East. My mindset is Super Bowl above all else. But just knowing that you have the potential to win the Super Bowl, finish 16 or it'll be 15-2 in the regular season, win the Super Bowl, have all home field, and then potentially pick top 7 in the draft when it's a quarterback-heavy draft where there's probably 3 quarterbacks going in those first 7 picks, so you're getting a top 5 defensive player in the draft potentially. Yeah, that's definitely in my mind, probly more so than you at this point.
Yeah, certainly more so than me because I'm not even thinking
how often is it, like, the famous one is the Celtics and Len Bias, where I think they won the championship or made it to the championship that season, and because of a trade or something, they had the number 2 pick overall in the draft, and obviously it's unfortunate what happened to Len Bias and it didn't work out the way you think, but just being able to have that much ammunition to where you can go out, win a Super Bowl, put together a roster that has, 8 Pro Bowlers and 7 Pro Bowl alternates or 9 Pro Bowl alternates, whatever it is, and potentially add a game-changing, franchise-type-changing player to your team. Yeah, that's definitely in my mind a little bit.
If you ask me, do I want a better pick or a worse pick? I'd want a better pick. That's a simple answer. But for me, the focus just isn't there. That's a conversation for March.
Okay.
Right? That's where do they end up? But the Saints.
But when we get to March and if they lose this game, you're going to be yelling about how they didn't win this game, probably.
No, I won't.
Okay,
no, I won't. Then I don't think they're losing this game, so that's part of the reason. But no, it's just I'm focused on this season. You don't. This is the most wins in franchise history. Like you don't do this.
It's maybe the best Eagles team we've seen in the regular season.
So yeah, forgive me if I'm not looking at the draft pick they could potentially have next year to restock. There's a bigger goal in front of you. By the way, not going to finish 15-2 because if they beat the Saints, then they're going to rest everybody against the Giants, and the Giants are going to win that football game. So, like, that'll be an Ian Book game. Ian Book will make that start.
Yeah, you're probably. I think they'd start Minshew, but then Book would come in shortly after.
I think Book gets every snap in that game because Minshew's too valuable as a backup.
I'll say this: I hope you're right, and I hope that's the conversation we're having in Week 18.
Hey, 14-3 ain't bad.
No, it's not terrible. Not bad at all.
Top seed in the NFC, winner of the NFC East, and best regular season in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, we'll take that one to the bank.
And I said it the other night, and it's a little bit looking back. It was when the Pro Bowls were announced, the roster. And you see, I think it ended up being 8 Pro Bowlers and 9 alternates. I believe it is for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I said to Devon Givens, again, 6-10, I was on last week with him. I'm like, can you imagine I say that to you a year ago at this time, where I know the Eagles were surging a little bit towards the end of the season, but we knew that team wasn't legit. We knew that team was getting bounced in the first round, or at least if they found a way to win in the first round, they're getting bounced in the second round, no doubt about it. Right. There was major questions about Jalen Hurts. We still had questions about Howie Roseman. Fast forward a year later, this team has 8 Pro Bowlers, 9 Pro Bowl alternates, an MVP at quarterback, 2,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rusher, the best O-line in football, 4 guys that are going to have 10 sacks. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson leads the league in interceptions, even though he's missed the last month of the season. The work that Howie Roseman done and the jump that not only Jalen Hurts has made, but the team has made as a whole is probably something we're never going to see again, honestly. For a team to make that big of a leap as a franchise and with their franchise player as well, this is an anomaly we are seeing right now, and it looks like we are set up for the next 5-10 years.
It's awesome. Yeah, and hopefully we don't have to see it again because they're consistently this good or about this good for the next 5-10 years. That would be a real fun stretch of Philadelphia Eagles football. But again, I'm focused on this year. And Willie Z on the YouTube says, Connor, it's okay to focus on more than one thing at a time. I get that. But what you have to account for with me is that I'm notoriously dumb. And
that you're incapable of doing so?
I'm capable of doing so. I don't know. I'm just not. I like to, when the goal is that big, when the goal is Super Bowl, I'm zoned in on that. And I understand you're not saying I'd rather have the pick than the Super Bowl. Like, that's not the conversation. And our goal is the same, like beat the Saints. And I think they will. Just for me, right now, the draft pick conversation is not one that I'm mentally ready to have because I'm still focused on what this team can accomplish.
You know what I think it is? I think if this team right now is, 15 games? If this team's 10-5 or 9-6.
Oh, we're so focused on that draft pick.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, they're still a playoff team with that record, and we're still worried about the playoffs, but our mindset isn't Super Bowl. That's just, hey, let's get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. Because our mindset has been Super Bowl, 80% of this season, obviously early on it's too early to tell, but a majority of this season our mindset has been Super Bowl. That's probably why you feel the way you do. It's because right now it's Super Bowl or bust for you at this point, or close to it.
And comparative, like if the Eagles pick better than 32, this year. What I think is that they're picking better than their talent level. So the Saints are not going to have the 32nd pick in the NFL draft. They're already moving up in draft position from where they would have been. So that's why I'm comfortable with, not that it's greedy, take as much as you can get, but I don't know. If you pick 20th, that's fine. You upped your position by 12 over what your standing would be if you win the Super Bowl. That's a big jump for me already. And Howie's been really good drafting lately as well.
It's kind of like house money at this point a little bit for you.
Exactly. This is a free pick. So who am I to complain about a free lunch, right?
That's true.
610-632-0975 is how you jump in. One more segment before we hand it over to Cuz Radio with not Cuz today. It'll be Ray Dunn who will have you from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. We're going to do a little crossover with Ray at the end of the show. And we've got some stuff that we want to get into. We'll continue to talk about the Eagles, and you can get in on the phone lines. Again, 610-632-0975 is how you do that. I do want to talk a little bit more of the logistics of the James Harden report, though. Not just throwing Woj in the bagster for being a Grinch and ruining Christmas for Philadelphia, or trying to. Doesn't matter because the Sixers still won their 8th straight game. But the actual report and what it means and how it factors in for this year's 76ers, or if it factors in at all. We'll discuss coming up next. It's Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for John Kincaid and the John Kincaid Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
I am so excited I can't stand it!
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tags and $389 for Barbera's Big Finish event. 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up using my promo code SCORDO. You know that I love player props. I also love money lines and spreads. You can combine all your bets for a chance at a bigger payday with that same game parlay. They also have live betting. You can get updated odds on games that have already started. And most importantly, when you win, you get paid fast. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up using my promo code SCORDO for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code SCORDO. And make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Get ultra strong for your South Pole. Charmin keeps your undies wetter than the North Pole. A shiny hiney, a brand new year. Call it a Charmin. Happy New Year. May your holidays be Charmin, clean, merry, and bright. May all your undies be Charmin, clean, white.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
This is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
Mm-hmm. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one-stop shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage?
If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more. And you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehaw, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowes.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Drexel basketball is here. Join fans from across Philly as our men's and women's teams host Division I rivals from around the country, right here on Market Street in the Daskalakis Athletic Center, which we call the DAC. This premier arena is one of the most intimate in the city. Now, we're bringing fans even closer to the action with a new state-of-the-art Jumbotron and a court-shaking audio system designed to make Dragons roar. For tickets, go to drexel.edu/Dragon Tickets. Because game time can't wait.
Free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hello? Whether you're at home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Here at 97.5 The Fanatic. If you tuned in to listen to the John Kincaid Show, well, this is the John Kincaid Show. Well, kind of. It's 1/5 of the John Kincaid Show, and me, Connor Thomas, sitting in the main host chair for Mr. John Kincaid. Tom Alvord along for the ride. Dan Fritz on the board. Haley running the YouTube. Everyone else, all the guys you normally hear, well, they've got their holiday break. So they're enjoying time with their families, enjoying time on vacation, whatever it may be that they're doing. And much deserved for them. A lot of folks on vacation this week. So you're going to hear some fun new shows here on 97.5 The Fanatic, some interesting pairings, and a lot of great talk because we do still have a bunch of news to get into, considering the Eagles lost to the Dallas Cowboys, the Sixers' 8-game winning streak, the James Harden report from Woj over this past weekend that just so happened to come out on Christmas, right before the huge slate of Christmas Day NBA games. What a shocker that is. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But it's time. I know we normally have the jury on Monday. So if you were sitting here like, oh, hey, Connor, where's the jury? Why don't you have any jury calls? Where's the jury?
Connor, where's the jury? Why aren't there any jury calls?
Exactly. Just like that. That's exactly what you would sound like if you were asking that question. Well, I would say to you, well, we gave the jury a week off because of the Christmas holiday. So we don't have the juror calls today. But we're going to do the verdict anyway. We're going to go ahead and jump in. Thank you, Dan. And the verdict would normally be where, if you're not familiar, Tom, or if you're not familiar out there listening, we'd react to what the jurors had to say about the game and our final thoughts reviewing the Eagles game from this previous weekend. And I'll just give you the verdict based on my feelings and what you and I have talked about, Tom. It was a tighter game than I think Dallas should have played against a team without their starting quarterback at home in a game that they needed that the Eagles didn't. If I come out of that game as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm thinking that team with Jalen Hurts is going to be very tough to beat. If I come out of that game like I am as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I'm looking at it as, well, you went down to Dallas and you put in the work that you needed to convince your fan base that you can compete with that team in January. No, not just compete, that you're better than that team in January. I came out of that game thinking one thing. If the Dallas Cowboys have to come to the Link in January and play Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, they're absolutely flying back to Dallas with the L. And that's all that we really needed out of that game, because you still have a great chance to clinch the 1 seed, great chance to clinch the NFC East. You're 1 win away from doing it. You can do it without even winning, with a little bit of help. And that is the ultimate takeaway to me, and the verdict for this weekend's game. And, of course, the verdict is brought to you by the personal injury law firm of Flager & Associates, who cares, prepare, and win. Visit FlagerLaw.com. There you have it.
Do I get one or no?
There's your verdict. I mean, you could do one.
It's only one verdict?
Normally, it's just John that does it.
All right, that's fine.
Do you want to?
No, that's cool.
I don't know. Have you been in a courtroom before?
No, I don't think so.
Have you watched like a courtroom on TV?
Yeah, I watched one.
So when the verdict is handed down, do you know who gives the verdict?
Yeah, 2 judges there to give the verdict. That's how.
And
it
you got to
usually
my
works,
point. It's one judge. Dingus.
No, I won't get. I feel very similar because I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care.
Go.
Ditto.
That's great.
No,
the consenting opinion from part of the Supreme Court, Tom Alford, his long statement is just going to say ditto.
The game was not perfect. 4 turnovers, 3rd and 30, mistakes all around, fumbles from Miles Sanders. Boston Scott should not be getting carries over Miles Sanders. Quez Watkins needs to bite back for the balls better. He needs to be have a little bit more grown man strength going after those balls. He cannot be in a situation where he is potentially hurting his team and hurting his backup quarterback. I think adjustments needed to be made a little bit quicker. Josiah Scott can't be on CeeDee Lamb again in the playoffs if Avonte Maddox, and obviously, knock on wood, hopefully Avonte's back and healthy. But if Avonte's not there, Josiah Scott cannot be on CeeDee Lamb. I don't care if Darius Slay and James Bradbury are in slot receiver or slot quarterbacks.
We're almost there.
But that being said, all these problems are fixable, and I don't think this is anything we have to worry about long term. The offense still look good. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are ridiculous. I think Miles Sanders is going to have a nice bounce-back game whenever we see him next. Who knows how many carries he gets against the Saints. If not, we'll see him come playoff time. Gardner Minshew is more than a capable backup. So, yeah, that's my verdict. So, it all threw me off because I was expecting to have a verdict.
Buddy, there's only one judge.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. You go, the judge reads the verdict, you move on with your life, or you go to jail.
Ditto.
Who knows? Ditto. That's exceptional work there, Judge Alvin.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
All right, let's jump in because I know we've been on the Eagles a lot. And that Rappaport report that we had from Ian Rappaport on Good Morning Football, not really news, but just a little bit of interesting tidbit to start the week, saying that there's a possibility that Jalen Hurts is available for the Eagles Sunday against the Saints. Take that for what you will. It could be a smokescreen. Could be someone inside the building feeding that information to Rappaport. It could be him doing his due diligence, and there actually is a chance that Jalen Hurts plays. We'll flesh that out throughout the week and figure out exactly what's going on there as we get more information. But the other kind of big news, Philadelphia sports related this weekend, was this James Harden report from Woj. That, and again, I'm going to go back to it so I can read you exactly what Woj said when it came to the James Harden situation, dealing with his former team of the Houston Rockets. I almost said the Houston Texans because I'm in football mode. But the tweet reads, ESPN sources, all-star guard James Harden is seriously considering a return to the Houston Rockets in free agency this July if he decides against a new deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The first part of that I look at, Tom, is when it says if he decides against a new deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. That's a big if because he's already forfeited a lot of money to be here. Seems like they're playing really well. Seems like they are playing really well. They've won 8 straight. Seems like he enjoys playing with Joel Embiid.
He's playing pretty well, actually, too. This pretty much all season he's been good, but especially these last couple games.
Right. And sure, I understand the nostalgia of wanting to go back to Houston, wanting to finish his career where he spent most of it. He became the Beard in Houston. He was a good player in OKC. He became James Harden in Houston. That is, when you remember James Harden, you're going to remember him as a Houston Rocket. Unless maybe he wins like a championship or multiple championships here in Philadelphia, and then maybe that shifts. But the best years of his career were in that Rockets jersey. So I can understand wanting to go back there and finish your career there or have another contract there. We see it all the time in sports. I don't have any issue with that. And also, we're talking about potential free agency further down the line. Like, I'm not looking at that right now. We just had the conversation, Tom, about the draft pick for the Saints pick that the Eagles can improve by beating them this week, and we want the Eagles to win for multiple reasons. But this kind of goes in that same category. I'm not worried about James Harden's free agency decision right now. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this may weigh in. How the Philadelphia 76ers season finishes this year, I think will have some kind of effect on the decision that James Harden makes in July. I'd imagine, right?
Yes, that's fair to say.
I think if the Sixers win the championship, it would be a different decision for James Harden than if the Sixers lost in the first round. We have to see how this plays out. This is just playing stupid hypotheticals to me, and this report is a nothing burger. Okay, so he's interested in going back to Houston at some point. If he decides against a new deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, if he even gets the free agency, if anything happens with the Philadelphia 76ers this year, if they don't win a championship, which we talked earlier, they can absolutely contend for this year. There's so many things that have to fall that way. All this report says to me is, hey, I'd like to play for Houston again someday. Cool, man. That's great. I'd like to go to Europe again someday. Doesn't mean I'm hopping on a flight tomorrow to go to Paris. It could happen. It will happen at some point, probably, because the NBA, the stars control where they go. But I'm not looking at this as impending doom of James Harden's going to bolt from Philadelphia. And on top of that, was this supposed to be a long-term thing? Did you look at this as James Harden and Joel Embiid are going to be the core here for a decade? He's on the back nine of his NBA career. This was never a long-term move. This was a couple seasons, trade Ben Simmons for a chance for this guy to come in here and help you win a championship, that guy being James Harden. He was an assassin. He was brought in here to do a job, not to be a core guy, not to be here for this team to build. No, he was brought in here to compete for a couple years for a championship, and what he does after, whatever. Would I like him still here? Yes. He's a very talented player, and I think he still will be if and when he hits free agency this offseason. But this was never going to be a long-term thing in my mind. And long-term, I mean 5, 6, 7 years. Just doesn't work with the age range and the championship window. And it's also a problem that we don't have to concern ourselves with right now because it may never pop up. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that is fair. To me, it's obvious that 2 weeks ago when they played Houston in James Harden's first return, they end up losing that game. He goes to the club with a little baby and spends $200,000. I think it's obvious that that's when he had a realization of, wow, I missed this place where my jersey is retired up in the rafters of the main strip club there in Houston. But to me, and he actually did speak after the game. He was asked about it after the game, and quote, he said, "I'm here. We're playing very well, and I don't know where that report came from, but I'm excited to be here, and we're playing very well. We're continuing to get better. Excuse me." He doesn't really shut that down. This came from...
No, because it's not false.
Well, I think it came from Harden's camp. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's unhappy or anything like that. I'm like, it came from somewhere. Woj didn't just make this up out of nowhere. And why would Houston even bring this up? It doesn't matter at this. Why? Right. Oh, we really want James Harden next year. I don't know. Who cares? To me, it's kind of a the only thing that kind of is worrisome, and this is from John Clark, who quote tweeted, this
tweet quoted.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess.
The story, and there's a quote from it. For all of Harden's history and connection with Sixers president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, and CEO Tad Brown, his working relationships with Embiid and coach Doc Rivers resemble something closer to a work in progress. So that is something from that article that Adrian Wojnarowski wrote about. That part's a little bit worrisome, because if their relationship isn't great, then it's probably obvious this isn't going to be long-term. But long-term, I was at least thinking we're getting him this year and next year because of the player option. Now, he obviously can opt out if he has a great season and puts up 20 assists like he put up the other night, and the efficiency's good and he looks like James Harden. But I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world because you have him for all of this year. He's not asking out. He knows that he cannot ask for a trade again, even if he wants to be traded, which I don't think he does, because that makes him look so bad. He already looks bad in the eyes of the casual NBA fan because he darted from Houston, he darted from Brooklyn. Now if he does it again in Philly after only being here for a year at this point.
He's not getting traded because the Sixers would not trade him.
Exactly, and I don't think that's what it is. I think it comes down to this. It's, hey, I'm going to see what happens this season. Right. I'm going to see if we end up winning the championship, he might go back to Houston because he's like, hey, I got the one thing that I wanted and I'm going to go back. I think this is just down the road. hey, Houston has a young team. They're not good right now, but there's some young players. I'm going to do all I can to get a championship, whether it's this year strictly or this year and next year, and then I kind of want to go back to Houston and retire and just do my thing there. It's also not the worst thing in the world if he does leave, and I don't want to be too negative on Harden because he's having a great season, but a lot of people, when Harden signed the contract, were like, we didn't want this guy back in general. Like, no, there was a lot of people out there that didn't want Harden back after how we saw how he played last year. If Harden leaves,
He was hurt, too.
I agree, and I'm not one of those people.
Right.
I'm just saying people out there have that thought process. If Harden leaves, and again, this team's playing very well, 8 wins in a row, and there's a lot left to prove and to win out there and all that stuff. Harden leaves, he opts out. It's not a trade where you're taking back salary, and you have $30 million to spend.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're
Tyrese
just
Maxey.
Exactly. So it's not just like you're they're forcing your hand like the Ben Simmons situation where no, you need to trade this guy, and you're not getting anything back except assets because the money needs to match up and everything like that. No, he leaves. Yeah, that sucks. Hopefully you win a championship and he leaves, but you have $30 million to worry about. And, oh, by the way, Tobias Harris off the books next season. So it doesn't completely cripple your franchise if it does happen. So this obviously is going to be something we talk about as the season goes along and when playoff time comes around, but I don't think there needs to be a ton of overreaction to this. This doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, this just feels like part of it feels like the LeBron to LA move, and that you're near the end of your career, you just want to go somewhere that you feel comfortable or somewhere where you can do something else, like somewhere where
just
you like the
compile
weather.
stats,
right?
Live with your family, be close to your family, where you want to live. Yeah,
Which I get it, and it's a little bit different because I think LeBron is transcendent and he can compete still, and I think Harden is at the point of his career, a very talented player, but Harden, and he never has been. Like there are points in LeBron's career where you win because you have LeBron.
Yes.
And screw who else you have. I know he's built super teams places, but come on. Let's not play like he can't carry a team to a finals.
Not so much anymore, but no. In his
but
prime,
there are
he
points in his
absolutely
career
could.
where he could.
Yeah.
Harden was never that guy for as talented as he has been. He never did it. I don't know why you're giving me that look.
I mean, dude, he's
not LeBron.
He was one game away from beating the greatest team ever assembled.
He was one game away.
And he was pretty much him and Chris Paul, and that's it.
He was pretty darn good.
Yeah. No one's ever going to be on LeBron's level, but like when in his prime, James Harden was up in that tier. Not maybe that level, but he was right underneath that tier, LeBron James.
I got you, but LeBron's been that for a while. My point is, LeBron, people were like, well, you can win anywhere. You're just picking LA to make a movie. Harden's going to be at that point where his next contract is probably going to be the Twilight deal. The Dwayne Wade goes to Chicago type deal, where it's just like you want to go somewhere for your connection to the place and whatever. And I can't fault him for that. The only thing that you can expect from James Harden, rightfully, here in Philadelphia, he doesn't owe us another contract. He already forfeited all this money to be here this year. He doesn't owe us to take that player option to stay. Like,
no, definitely. He
doesn't.
He did all he could, he was capable of doing, not on the court, of making this roster as much of a championship roster as it could be. Without him taking the sacrifice of, what was it, $15 million or something like that, we don't have DeAnthony Melton. We don't have a guy like P.J. Tucker, and I know P.J. Tucker is not necessarily a fan favorite to a lot of people. P.J. Tucker does a lot of things not scoring. Like, the dude is tremendous on defense. He adds toughness, all that stuff, and I think come playoff time, there's going to be a different opinion on P.J. Tucker. But none of this happens, Daniel House, Montrezl Harrell, none of this happens without James Harden and the sacrifice that he took on his contract. And he should be praised for that. And yeah, you're right. He probably doesn't owe us anything at this point for in the future.
Right. This isn't him bolting. This is him having the opportunity and saying, hey, man, I want to go back to this town that I have a lot of connection with, that the weather's nice and I can go ahead and compile stats and play with the team that doesn't have a lot of pressure, play out my last couple years and then ride off into the sunset and, I don't know, wear weird pink ski masks or whatever he's going to do for the next 40 years.
He's having like answering a serious question and he looks like a piece of cotton candy with all the stuff he was wearing.
It's pretty funny. Some of his fits I like. That was not one of them. But that are the initial thoughts on the James Harden thing. And that's a conversation, again, for July. But the report came out on Christmas because Woj wanted to try and be a Grinch. So we had to talk about it. Now, we have someone else in the studio with us right now, Tom. We got a little crossover going on with Ray Dunn. Hey,
Hi,
you're going
Ray.
to be hosting middays. Is that correct? That's what
That's
the schedule
true.
tells
That's what
me.
the schedule says.
Per
I'm just going to go
sources.
by the schedule and just do my thing.
Look at you. So I'm sure you've got a lot of interesting stuff planned for us, Ray. I don't want you to give away too much of what you're going to talk about during your time there from 10 to 2 today. But just give us your base thoughts on what you're taking away from the Eagles game. Because for me, I wasn't overly upset with anything. I know we talked about Quez Watkins needs to be tougher when he gets opportunities. Miles Sanders can't fumble there. Gardner Minshew has to be a little bit sharper if he's going to play again. But all in all, it looked like the Eagles really competed in a tougher spot than the Cowboys were in against a team that's pretty darn good. I got no worries about that. And on top of that, I got no worries about the Saints this week. How are you feeling about the Birds right now?
I'm still feeling pretty good. There's no real panic in my mind right now with this team. It's frustration, but it's in context of what was happening. The Cowboys were certainly in a spot where they wanted that one a lot more than the Eagles needed that one. You're playing with the backup quarterback, and you didn't play your sharpest game. So there's some things that I'm taking away from that game in terms of big picture and what I'm looking for from this team down the road. And I'm going to get into that in, just about 15 minutes. You can start hearing that discussion open up. But really, for me, I'm not panicking. Today's not, it wasn't fun for the way that one ended and to go into the holiday. But I think if you're making bold proclamations and really going down the rabbit hole of not enjoying what you're watching right now with a 13-2 football team after that game, I think you need to relax. You need to just enjoy the holiday. Calm down a little bit.
Yeah, even when they lose, it's a fun, exciting game, right? Like that was still a great game,
it was
even though they lost. Because you can put up points with Gardner Minshew. Like 34 points with a backup quarterback's nuts, right? That's encouraging to me, especially against that defense, even though you ended up 6 points short of what you gave up.
And you were right there. You were right there.
You had a chance to win.
You had a chance to win at the end. Like there's not much more out of a backup quarterback.
If you don't have a bad fumble by a guy who hasn't fumbled a lot this year, it feels like the Washington game. It feels like the way you're going to have to beat this team is a couple weird things are going to happen. And there's going to have to be a really weird, costly fumble. And there's going to have to be some other mistake, whether it's the face mask on Dallas Goedert that leads to another one or something. It takes a lot to beat this Eagles team, even when they're not a
To beat this Eagles team, the Eagles need to beat themselves. That's what it is.
John Kincaid's been saying that all year long.
Honestly, and it's true.
He's not wrong.
The two losses they have what? 8 total turnovers in those 2 losses. You had 4 yesterday, and you had 4 in the game against the Commanders. And I know the last one was the lateral play or whatever, but it's still 4 turnovers. It still counts. So honestly, for the Dallas Cowboys to be at home, have all their guys. I know they were missing obviously people in the back or in the secondary, but for them to play the way they did, the Philadelphia Eagles down Avonte Maddox, down Jalen Hurts, obviously with 4 turnovers. That's the only way you can beat this team or have a chance to beat this team because they almost still won. Is for them to beat themselves.
You're absolutely right. Ray, real quick before we let you go finish up your prep for your show, we're going to do a fun new segment, part of this crossover.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that we're starting today. It's called Steal Ray's Best Segment. So you're going to tell us what your best segment that you have planned for middays is, and we're going to do it in 2 minutes right here so you can't do it.
Sounds good. Sports or non-sports? Sports. Oh, well, sports, we really just got into a bit of what the Open's going to be. So you might have already done it, actually accomplished it without the segment.
No, we were just getting started. You got plenty of stuff still.
Oh, yeah, there's still plenty of stuff.
Like 5 words on the Eagles. I hope you got more. You got 4 hours to fill there, buddy.
I got 4 hours, but you went with the thesis of the Open. So
are we going to get any Anthony caliber sound bites from you? You make any weird noises or anything like that? Try and get the people
I might, but it's 4 hours of radio. Who knows what's going to happen? It could get weird. It could get a little freaky. Who knows?
As Kevin Garnett once said, anything is possible.
It's true.
He was talking about sports radio.
He was talking about sports radio.
Philadelphia.
He was foreshadowing my career. That's exactly what he was doing.
Absolutely. Well, Ray, appreciate it, man. Before you give up any more of what you're going to be talking, you got a bunch of interesting stuff coming up. We will let you go ahead and get back out to the prep desk and get squared away. Ray Dunn, you will hear him from 10 to 2, filling in for Cuz Radio. You're going to from 2 to 6, filling in for the best show ever. Here, D. Lynam and Kevin Cooney. Then you got Inside the Birds later on tonight from 6 to 8. A lot of interesting stuff still to come here on 97.5 The Fanatic programming-wise. But that's all for us. That was it was a fun morning. Hopefully we did a wonderful job filling in for the John Kincaid Show. I feel so, but I mean, in my opinion, slightly biased.
Maybe a little bit.
We'll get a chance to do better tomorrow if you didn't like what we did today. Plenty of other stuff still to come. And, Tom, we got the next 3 days to continue to do our best possible job filling in for John Kincaid and the folks on the John Kincaid Show while they take their much-deserved vacation. It'll be plenty more Eagles tomorrow. We'll react to stuff that Nick Sirianni has to say today and everything like that. Keep you updated on what's going on. We'll preview another Sixers opportunity to go ahead and get another win. It's going to be a busy, interesting week in Philadelphia sports as we head towards the new year. They could have a championship pretty close into it if the Eagles continue doing what they're doing. I mean, it's a fun time right now to be talking Philadelphia sports, and we're very lucky to be doing it for you in the capacity that we do. So appreciate everyone listening. One more thing I do want to let you know before we get out of here. Remember, Support life-saving cancer research. Join me and our generous partners, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning, in making a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR, because cancer research saves lives. Tom, thank you. Dan,
Thanks
thank you for
me.
being on the board. Haley, thank you for running the YouTube. Thank you to everyone who tweeted, called, texted, all that good stuff. Snail mail, Pony Express, everybody who reached out, listened, watched, really appreciate that. And we will be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. for another fill-in edition of the John Kincaid Show. Talk to you then. Ray Dunn, middays, coming up next here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
Talking sense into people isn't really my thing. In fact, I'm better at the